हेलो। 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 आप भी आगे आ जाओ। ओके। अच्छा जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। सो अपॉलजीज, थोड़ा सा लेट स्टार्ट किया। फिर एक्चुअली देयर वर स्टिल सम पीपल हु आर कमिंग इन। सम ऑफ आवर स्टार्टर्स हैव जॉइंड अस ऑनलाइन। आवाज आ रही है तो वेलकम टू एनआईसी। So today's session is about funding, and before we start introduction of the mentors, guys, I just wanted to go, I just want to have some discussion with you guys regarding your last mentor idea review. So there was a big, we got a feedback from the mentors on your ideas, and uska jo hai overall, right now I'm compiling things for you, and based on that, some of the startups who hasn't done as good as we expected him to do, उनके लिए हम पर कुछ special जो है हम pitching sessions रखेंगे, so that you improve upon your pitching, so that once we have the investor readiness event in January, you are ready for that. थिंक सेकेंडली आई होप कि आपके जो असाइनमेंट्स हैं वो इन टाइम जा रहे हैं। ठीक है, जस्ट डोंट डिले इट, आप उसको कीप ट्रैक। हाउ आर योर मीटिंग्स गोइंग ऑन? जो आपके पीयर्स मीटिंग कैसे जा रही है वर्किंग ग्रुप्स की? सॉरी, इट्स गोइंग गुड। ओके। हम्म। ठीक है। अच्छा, सो एक तो ये कि हाँ 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 हाँ, आई थिंक बिल्कुल सही है सर। व्हाई नॉट? बिल्कुल ठीक है, इसको इसको भी कर लेते हैं। सो नहीं, डिस्कशन वो आपको, सो व्हाट विल डू इज के हम, अब मैं आपको पूरा फॉर्मेट बताता हूँ एग्जैक्टली व्हाट विल हैपन। हाँ, इसमें सो वील डू अ सेमी सर्कल इन द एंड वंस वी हैव आवर डिस्कशन पार्ट। अभी आप बिल्कुल, यू कैन, वी कैन सिट ओवर हियर, इट्स फाइन। ताकि हाँ, नो नो इट्स ओके, वो कोई इशू नहीं है, कैमरा को भी एडजस्ट कर लेंगे, दैट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम। सो व्हाट वील डू इज, हम सबसे पहले, सो बिफोर वी स्टार्ट द सेशन, आई वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस आवर मेंटर्स to you guys. So it's a pleasure to have one of the top-notch mentors for this session. So we'll start with Mr. Amir Hashmi, who's the president and global managing partner at Exage Technology Group with over 28 years of experience in technology sector. Amir Saab is a visionary leader and global strategist and entrepreneur. Career इनका जो है, it spans over innovation across multiple industry verticals, including government, academia, and industry, और different technology startup के साथ उन्होंने mentor किया है, and he's also an angel investor. So if you impress him, maybe he might invest in you guys. Then we have Mr. Haider Naveed, who is the co-founder of Trucketin, and he is on a mission to digitize Pakistan at $25 billion road freight market through Trucketin. Yeah. And with diverse background, including leading Kareem expansion and managing international teams in the supply chain, FMCG, and retail marketing. So Heather brings in deep operational expertise to the table. And under his leadership, Kraken has raised a record-breaking $13 million seed round in 2022, and making waves in a manner. Definitely not the least is Mr. Ozair Khan, who is the CEO and founder of Move It. And his story is one of resilience and sustainability, to say the least. Started here at NIC back in 2020, and he has navigated a challenge funding ecosystem, successfully raising up to $1 million in over multiple rounds from 2021 till 24. And this journey highlights the importance of lean operations, strategic growth, and building a sustainable business even in the competitive market. So welcome, guys, for this session. We are honored to have you guys for today. So आज का तो overall हमारा जो session है, मैं उसका एक format आपसे share करता हूँ, and then we'll take it from there. So we start our sessions from the hot seat. So what happens in the hot seat? So we invite each founder, they come in, and they have a 60-second to pitch their startup. After 60 seconds, a hard stop. And after 60 seconds, you guys will be giving them scores. Now the scores is from the range of 1 to 5 with no threes allowed. So it means, sir, you have done it before. So it's either 1, 2, 4, or 5. Acha, 5 or I explain these scores to you. So 5 means the startup is investable. You're ready to invest in a startup. So that's 5. 4 is a good pitch. 2 is a poor pitch and 1 is a very poor pitch. So their law of averages doesn't apply over here. So this is how the hot seat takes place. हमारे बहुत से hot seats हो चुके हैं, so we'll be doing some repeats this time. And for the first hot seat, I'm gonna invite Chaji. So I'm gonna invite Josefa from Cosmosis on the stage, please. हाँ जी, या welcome. अच्छा. So you have 60 seconds to pitch, and your time starts now.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Muzaffar. I'm one of the co-founders and chief product officer at Cosmosis. We're a B2B SaaS HR tech startup building Pakistan's first AI-powered hiring manager on steroids. Sounds interesting, right? Fast Track is your 10x hiring manager that is 10x smarter, 10x faster, and cheaper than the intern. Fast Track, we're currently working with over 30 companies from both Pakistan and internationally that we're helping solve their most time-consuming and more resource-intensive part of hiring, shortlisting. Fast Track shortlists up to 700 million resumes in less than 1 minute and gets the candidate from the hiring part of the process to the interview process. So the recruiter only has to worry about one part, that is the final interview. So far, we have gotten over 210,000 PKR in monthly recurring revenue, and we have gotten more than $150,000 from Microsoft in technical and resource support. So join me in building Pakistan's next talent search engine, helping recruiters find, engage, and schedule top candidates with efficiency and transparency. Thank you.
So good job on the time, exactly at 60 seconds. I was about to say your time is up, but you have managed it well as far as the time is concerned. So let's start with the scores first. So we'll have the scores first, and then we'll have the feedback from the mentors. ठीक है जी? So Heather, आपसे start करते हैं. Score.
Yeah, so I would rate this a 4.
4.
Primarily. So do I explain why?
No, first we'll get the scores, and then we will go for the feedback.
I'll also give it a 4.
4.
I'll
Okay.
match Heather.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Amir. All right. So it's 3 4s. So good job as far as score is concerned. चलें over to Amir साहब, आपसे start करते हैं और the feedback. Mic दें ताकि वो they can also listen. Amir साहब को mic दे दें.
Huzaifa is your name?
Yes.
Huzaifa, very good. You had concept clarity. Of course, 60 seconds mein, it's very difficult to explain your whole concept, but I think what I got out of it, it is a search engine for recruitment on steroids, right? Thoda sa jo add kar sakte ho, maybe, again, in 1 minute mushkil hai. A value proposition, different search engines both hain, wo zara add kar do for such a. I think your next round is 5 minutes, then they get, hai na? So 5 minutes mein value proposition of how you're different from other many HR search engines that are out there getting talent. theek hai na? And then sort of the niche market you'll address. So are you going to do a sector, or is it for everyone? Is it for tech talent? Is it for freelancers? Is it for other industries like manufacturing? Which sector does your search engine concentrate on? I think those are the 2 items leading up to your 5-minute pitch that you'll be making.
Because I think you did a wonderful job. Isko hum elevator pitch कहते हैं basically. So whatever you said, I quite understood it. You raised some money as well, and I think your trajectory is fantastic. Just keep at it, and inshallah you'll do great.
ये जो आपने पिच दी है, इसकी कितनी दफा आपने प्रैक्टिस की थी?
That is completely on the spot.
On the spot.
Yeah.
So did you write it down? Did you say it in front of the mirror even once?
No, this is completely from so हमारा जो GTM है, that is sneaking into tech conferences and pitching it to different CEOs. तो वहाँ से practice हो जाती है.
Right. So you have practice, right? Because it was
practice
like
की है ना, FI के तूने sessions किए हैं, तुमने उसमें record नहीं किए?
क्योंकि
Record किया
क्योंकि
हुआ।
जैसे आप खड़े हुए और आपने बोलना शुरू किया तो वो जो बोलने की पेस थी, दैट वाज शोइंग इट टू मी कि अच्छी आपकी एक प्रैक्टिस हुई है। अच्छा, दो तीन चीज़ें हैं जब भी हम ये बात करते हैं, और ये थोड़ा सा मे बी फीडबैक शायद अगली पिचेस के लिए एक अनफेयर एडवांटेज भी हो जाए, बिकॉज दे विल गेट द टाइम टू थिंक एंड प्रेजेंट दैट वे। जब भी किसी बिजनेस आइडिया में ये बात हो रही है ना कि 5 रेट करना है एंड 5 मीन्स दैट यू आर इन्वेस्टेबल, सो यू हैव टू समहाउ शोकेस हाउ विल यू मेक मनी, राइट? सो हाउ बिग इज द मार्केट एंड हाउ यू मेक मनी, ये दो बड़े बेसिक क्वेश्चन है। और जिस तरह सर ने कहा कि whatever you are doing is something on steroids, but the value prop is slightly diluted. So I think the market size and how you would make money. Microsoft investing 150,000 was a big signal that you are doing something right. So you need to like explain it how that right thing would make me money if I invest $1 today. So yeah, that was my feedback overall.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much and all the best. Thank you. Take care. Okay. So we'll take one virtual startup for pitching this time. Mohib, can you hear me?
Yes, Kamran, just give me 1 minute. I'll set the mic up.
Sure. You set your mic and then we'll take your pitch.
अगर मोहिब को टाइम है तो हम स्टेज ले सकते हैं। 3
आप
मुसाफिर।
स्टेज ले सकते हैं, लेकिन 3 मुसाफिर अभी आपको तो यहाँ पे होना चाहिए इन पर्सन। आप यहाँ पे, आप वहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हो?
सर कुछ काम थे इन लाहौर बिजनेस रिलेटेड, तो वी हैड टू कम हियर।
अच्छा, ठीक हो गया, ठीक है। ओके, तो मोहिब आप सेट कर लो।
Yeah, I'm good to go.
यू गुड टू गो?
Yep.
अच्छा, चलें। ओके, सो मोहिब योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स नाउ।
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mohib and I'm the co-founder and CTO at Make Your Team. So basically, we are enabling businesses of all sizes to have digital employees. So think your sales representative, but he's an AI agent that can perform 10x tasks, that can be more efficient and bring you more results. So currently, we are working with over 15 customers who are paying us on a monthly recurring basis, and we have over $1,500 in monthly recurring revenue. We also have raised 500,000 PKR in family and friends funding, and we are looking to launch our product in January on the international scale. So primarily, we are focused in 3 verticals: sales and outreach, customer support and marketing, making simplified solutions using AI agents for that market, enabling small and medium-sized businesses to build businesses on top of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So it was in 52 seconds, well in time. Okay, let's scoring से start करते हैं। हैदर आपसे start करते हैं।
So again, I would rate it a 4.
4. Okay, thank you.
A 3 from my side.
3 is not allowed, so it's either 2 or 4.
4.
4. Okay.
5, 7.
Because
Because he's almost there. So yeah, Kamran's not allowing a 3.9. No?
No, it's
So
not allowed.
I'll have to gauge it up to 4.
Okay.
So idea is excellent. And again, moving up to your 5-minute pitch, because again, 60 seconds, I understand where you guys are coming from. It's very difficult. Again, I'd stress on you mentioned going global, and you have 5 lakhs in family and friends. So your
We are already
value
global.
proposition.
So all of our
Sorry?
customers are based in the US, and the funding that we raised initially was just to give us a push to build the early version of the product.
So I would try it out a little more before expanding. It's a digital assistant, right?
It's an AI agent platform where you can build something more customized for your business.
Yeah. So your pricing model will have to be really competitive. There's many out
Sure.
there, and of course, your again marketplace. Those are the 2 suggestions I have before you go to your 5-minute detailed pitch. And again, I think Heather's pointed out, but for everyone, थोड़ा सा maybe 10-15 seconds on why this would be a good ROI for any investor. Those are important in your first pitch, that this is a groundbreaking idea that makes money. So you have to explain why your startup will make money.
So Mohib, overall great job. Personally, I would talk a little about the problem initially, just a few seconds, and also maybe talk a little about the market size. That'll help the viewer or the listener or the investor get more clarity on what you're going after.
Got it.
So I think Mohib, overall a good pitch. A couple of areas as my fellow mentors and judges commented. So I think one thing I would like to stress more on is like it's good to build businesses in the latest trends and throw around the buzzwords like AI agents, but it is also super critical to lay out some of the use cases where you are deploying those AI agents so that any audience, either the investors or the mentors or the companies or clients that you are pitching to, are better able to relate to the kind of problems that you are solving. So I was able to understand that your AI agents are helping companies in US manage their sales, but how that part is critical for me to understand, because both of us as mentors here are in the B2B logistics and SaaS space. So we understand how useful and how big the problem that you're talking about is, but we still have to put an additional effort to relate to the value that you're creating. I also saw that you talked about some of the revenue that you were generating. I'm not entirely sure what was that. So maybe as sir mentioned, that if you could elaborate a little bit.
It is
more to that fact.
$1,500 in monthly recurring revenue that we have gotten after 30 days of launch.
Yes, so I mean that's fantastic, because I know a lot of companies in multiple SaaS spaces across Pakistan who are struggling to get an ARR of $30,000 today, because that is what 1,500 a month means. So don't talk about the 1,500, talk about the 30,000 ARR, because that is where you are today. So don't like size yourself down or trim yourself down.
Yeah, got it.
All right.
Got it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next startup to pitch is Ballet Delights. Please come on the stage. It's Ballet Delights. Mike. Ballet. It's Ballet Delights. So Ballet Delights. So start करते हैं थोड़ी देर. Are you ready? He's always ready. Okay, that's good. Okay, so your time starts now.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Dumna and I'm the CEO and the founder of Ballet Delights. Ballet Delights, Ballet means woman and delights things that make women happy. So Ballet Delights an e-commerce handbag store with our own manufacturing. And beside this, I have more than 7 years of experience in e-commerce and digital marketing. And with these, we have more than 20,000 customer base through which we have generated more than $192,000 USD dollars in revenue. And with these proven results, I'm just not only dominating in the male in dominate. Sorry, I'm not only proving my result in male dominant industry, but I also inspire resilience and passion among other women. And the problem statement we started with, it's difficult to find a bag that is practical, stylish, and affordable. So we come up with the solution by partnering with the local artisan by using direct to customer approach. And we have 40% gross margin, and our business model is completely scalable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So 55 seconds.
Thank
बिल्कुल ठीक है. Just एक second. अभी हम scores लेते हैं. ठीक है.
Yes, again.
So okay. So हाँ जी. पहले score.
Like we have been robbed of threes, so I would have to rank it up to a 4. Yeah.
Okay, 4. Thank you.
I'll give it a 4 as well.
4. Thank you. Sir, ये क्या है? Next time आपसे पहले लूँ. Okay. No, it's okay. Okay. In fact, so इस दफा जो है उज़ैर आपसे start करते हैं.
So again, I would talk a little bit about my market size for sure. What am I going after? ताकि उससे idea हो कि क्या आप मतलब what are you going to be able to generate, right? And secondly, great GM. You talked about your customers. What's your like maybe a little bit about the strategy, how you're differentiating from your competitors? क्योंकि काफी high competition market है, locally be international. Maybe that's possible in the 5-minute pitch. But overall, great job and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, आपकी बारी.
Oh, I thought very good idea. Again, to clarify, it's customized handbags,
Not customized, but ladies' handbags.
ladies' handbags. and you manufacture them yourself.
Yes, man.
And revenue you said $192,000
Yes.
in a
It's more than, because it's like back in
is that cumulative or yearly?
cumulative.
Cumulative. How many years?
We started in May 2022. Last
Very
year,
good. Dos
yes,
saal hai.
last year
Good
it
numbers.
was 2.6 crores, and this year we are closing around 5 crores.
Or funding kaise ki?
It's bootstrap.
Bootstrap.
Yes.
So I think you've got a very, very powerful business model to get to
Thank you.
those numbers in 2 years where you've solely done this yourself. I think your next round would maybe even be a Series A if you've gone to those numbers because you're doing well financially. And a little more clarity for, I guess, 5-minute pitch pe jana hai. So if you qualified with the 4 saalon ne diye, तो इसके लिए थोड़ी market segmentation करनी होगी if you know what that means, right? So it's a huge market. So आप market segmentation को दिखाना ठीक है ये हमारा पाकिस्तान base है, ये Middle East base है, because you're global, right? You can ship it out anywhere, right?
Right now हम नहीं करे, but I have been to USA. मैंने उधर देखा था my product is market fit. So later on we can do that.
So I think the value proposition from an investor's point of view and ROI would be your cost base is rupees and you're marketing a product that could earn you dollars, correct?
Yes.
Right. So segmentation of the market would you be your strongest value proposition?
Thank you.
Thank you. Heather, over to you.
Yes, I mean, anything in e-commerce and especially in fashion is exactly how we call it a Me Too business, which means the barrier for entry or exit for any entrepreneur are very less. So it's good to know, as sir mentioned before me, that how well would you differentiate from your competitors and what's that path to scale in terms of building the right channels internationally, both in terms of digital marketing and on-ground activation, if you have any such plans. But again, overall, I think it's an interesting space to be in because of the high volumes and high velocity. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Okay, Numan sir, participants list दिखाना. No, I know. मुझे पता है जो willing है मुझे पता है मैंने उनको नहीं बुलाना. Okay. हाँ जी. So the next startup to pitch is Sadia Evalia.
Assalamu alaikum.
जी वालेकुम सलाम. So ready when you are.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ji.
Okay. So your time starts now.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sadia and I've been in the tech sector for over 17 years. One of the biggest challenges I've always had is finding the right people. And if you look at the recruitment process, we have interviews, we have technical tests, we have behavioral tests, yet all of these are abstract data points. They do not really tell us how that person will actually behave once we have hired them. And that is why we are building Evalia. Evalia is this 2D virtual office space with a number of virtual team members, and you are given these different challenges based on the JD. And during this process, we not only test you for your technical skills, but also for your soft skills. We are targeting the IT sector, which is around $187 billion market. We intend to market this as a SaaS product. And right now we are in the idea validation stage.
All right, thank you. So it's 58 seconds. So well in time again. Okay. Amr साहब सबसे पहले आपसे score पूछूंगा इस बार.
I didn't get the business model.
Okay, so it's 2. Okay. Ji. Okay. G was there.
I'll give it a 4 actually because I did understand the business model. It's a virtual, basically office space with team members. But I would talk a little more about
Score. So हम वो feedback बाद में
I'll
देंगे.
say
पहले
the
score हाँ पहले score ले लेते हैं. जी Heather.
Yeah, again, I would rate it a 4.
4. Okay, thank you. Okay, चले आप आपसे इस feedback start कर दो. हाँ जी. Heather, आप start.
So I was able to understand the way you guys are simulating the office environment and the soft and the hard skills side of it. That is good to understand. I was still not able to get out from your pitch how you would save any large enterprise or your target customer base on the time and the costs. So that part was still missing. I would have loved if you could have talked more about it.
Okay, thank you.
So you did talk about the overall market size. I'd focus a little more about what you're going after. And is it global? Is it concentrated to a continent or a place? But at an ideation stage, you're doing great, and hopefully we'll know more in a longer pitch.
Thank you, sir. Over to you for the feedback.
Sadia, again, 1 minute is difficult, but it didn't capture my attention, to be quite honest, in a minute. So I think even your 1 minute pitch, you said it was at an idea stage. The idea has to be powerful enough to catch attention to get it to a 4 level. At least that's what I'm looking at right now.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sadio. Okay. So we'll take one more hot seat. जी मरियम आप ही आ जाएं स्टेज पे. Please come on stage. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So, Mariam, ready? Okay, so your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Mariam, the co-founder and chief operating officer of One Hire Technologies. According to Shram, the average turnaround time to hire a resource is 44 days, and 40% of the employees leave the organization in the first year because of poor employee engagement. We are presenting One Hire, which is an AI-based hiring platform built to help enterprises hire the talent quickly and better retain the talent as well. So far, we have onboarded 2 clients, and we have 5 more clients in the pipeline, which we are aiming to onboard in the Q1 of 2025. Our business model is simple. It is subscription with one-time implementation fee, and the market size that we are aiming for is $146 million. Our plan is to start local and go global. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So it's 58 seconds. So well in time. Okay. Again, अभी सारे time पे वैसे pitch कर रहे हैं. That's a good thing. They have not don't have to didn't have to say कि यार time आपका पूरा हो गया. Scoring से start करते हैं. आमिर साहब आपसे ही start करते हैं. अच्छा. Okay. नहीं स्कोर तो आपने देना है based on the pitch, based on 60 seconds. हाँ वो I know you know this. अब मुझे पता है आईडी है. आपने पूरा देखा हुआ. It's a 5. Oh, okay. Okay. ठीक है. Okay. हाँ जी.
Because I want it to be a 4.5 and I am ready to explain why.
No, but you can't do it in decimal.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
it
4
would
or
be
a
a
5.
4. It would be a 4.
It would be a 4. Okay, thank you.
Me as well.
4.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So start करते हैं. सर आपसे मैं लूंगा क्योंकि मुझे पता है आपको पता है इस कंपनी का.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of things that I have been talking about, the market size was there. The problem was canvassed in a very understandable manner. So good job on that. The pricing model was there. So yeah, a lot of good things that I was expecting to hear in a 60-minute elevator pitch were there. So hence I wanted it to be a 4.5, but I don't have an option.
Thank you.
So, I mean, he loves your product, right? So maybe adding a little points about the product would really help you. And also, a software like this is a global product. So I think use the larger number for market size
Yeah.
on a global scale. Otherwise, great job.
Thank you.
सर आपने कोई बात करनी है इस पे? माइक.
Yes, you are. What they did was really good. It was presented to me about 6 months ago. And they've used logarithm to size up, how everyone gets paid. The thing they did was they were able to shortlist the candidates via the AI, but then they have a test. You know how everyone's looking for software developers? So a lot of people who don't know software, they apply. You resume pay time data. If you don't get past their scoring, which is done really well, all the latest Python, of course, Microsoft, or the so once you pass the test, then it hits the portal. In the portal, the AI engine gives you the data you're talking. So it's totally on you. That's why I think it's going to be a really good HR talent acquisition.
Yeah.
So apart from the hiring part, we already have, so it is all in one. So we are already providing, post onboarding services via the same platform as well. That is the added advantage that, we have. And that is also, we have been working on the HR bot now. So yeah, for the policies and everything.
Launch properly.
We have launched, but not proper announcement, but we have launched and we have the clients. Yes, yeah.
Do the proper launch over here.
Sure, why not? So we can definitely have discuss it. All right, good luck. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of the hot seat. So अभी so what's next? So अभी पैटर्न होगा, सब एक एक करके हम आपसे सुनेंगे. आज के टॉपिक को डिस्कस करेंगे. It's on funding. So we have two founders here who have raised funds. FNF से आपने स्टार्ट किया and उसके बाद मल्टीपल राउंड्स रेस किए. आपने तो मैंने प्रीचर में आपने तबाही मचा दी. ठीक है. तो और सर आप चूंकि मल्टीपल स्टार्ट के साथ काम करते हैं, सो हम आपका सो वील बी hearing all of your perspective on today's topic. So Uzair, I would like you to come here. हम आपसे so that and सर आप आगे ही आ जाएं. और yeah, okay. Yeah. Wow. All right. Short one. Short. जी जी. आपकी presentation? अच्छा अच्छा. Okay. बिल्कुल. नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक है. बिल्कुल सही है जी. बिल्कुल सही है जी. या ऐसा ही है. बिल्कुल ठीक है. सो बिल्कुल बुला लेते हैं. एक दफा चक्कर लगा लेते हैं उनका. हाँ 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 बुला लें. बुला लें. या हाँ जी. अच्छा सर सर माइक में बात करें क्योंकि वो ऑनलाइन वालों को समझ.
डे वन से फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट
पहले आप सेशन दे.
बीसी आपका बाद में आया आफ्टर सी.
सर उसमें ये कि माइक में वो और जो है वो वर्चुअल को जो है ना वो माइक वो बात करेंगे तो समझ हो जाएगा. Sir, if you could repeat on what you just said, no? So they could not listen to it properly.
Is it on a discussion base or
No,
should
no,
I
no.
give my
So
idea on funding?
yeah. So you आपका हाँ आप पे हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. सर आप बिल्कुल इधर ही आ जाएं ताकि हम इसको जरा. नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक ठीक हो गया जी. इसको जरा सर बुला ऑलरेडी कह दिए है वहाँ पे ऑलरेडी.
Actively investing and we're with VC. I'll tell you what their practical ideas are.
हाँ आप आगे आए. नहीं कोई डिस्कनेक्ट नहीं होता. हम अभी यहाँ पे ले आएंगे ना स्टेज टूल्स तो फिर वो विल कम इन हियर. वो नो वरीज. अभी आप आ जाएं आगे आ जाएं. गाइस इफ यू वांट टू कम आगे आना आ जाएं.
Is he living in Delhi?
Yes. He's doing his own private thing.
It will be recorded already session. तो फिर ये कि हम ये हमारे जो बाकी हैं वो देर है already online तो
Kamran, how much time? Oh,
25 minutes. हाँ, more than enough. हाँ, आराम से कर लें. कोई जल्दी नहीं.
need me to speak into this?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. And of course, our virtual guests as well. I actually speak extempore, but I jotted down important points because funding is a huge topic. And in the last 4 years, funding was coming into Pakistan and it kind of slowed down in the last 2, right? Particularly for startups. So I thought I'd differentiate. There's a difference between a startup and a company then that's doing revenue, which is in business operations, getting revenue, may not be making profit. And then there's a mature stage where it's captured a certain market. And then when this different series come in. So because a lot of companies that I'm buying and why I'm excited about startups, because the ideas that they have is not in the enterprise computing side. So I was just last week at NIC in Karachi as well. So similar feel I got. And I guess NICs across Pakistan are doing this, right? You're getting very good ideas. दो चीजें lack कर रही हैं. It's the management team because the founder usually becomes a CEO and he's not trained. He's typically the chief product officer or the CTO, right? So he doesn't have the management skills. He doesn't know how to get a team together. And then the money. So a lot of the friends and family, they categorize as their investment. But friends and family is kind of just to give them the push to get started. So I'll break it down into what angel actually means. Then I'll break down what VC actually means. Then I'll break down what VC actually means. Private equity actually means, and then institutional investors, right? Some people, there's an excellent idea right now in the oil and gas sector, and they want ADNOC to come. Idea zabardast hai unka, magar ADNOC is not ready for them yet. They may be ready for ADNOC, right? And if the company is in Karachi, right? So angel typically is, and Kamran rightly said, I wear 2 hats. I came back to Pakistan in 2003. I was at ex-IBM, Silicon Valley, New York, Toronto. So I raised, and I didn't know at that time what these terminologies meant, to be quite honest. I put in my own money, which was $2 million. And then I got 5 billionaires, which was the wrong strategy. So I was building a world-class systems integrator like Wipro, Infosys, Tata, right? So we built data centers. And I raised almost $7 million as a founder. And 5 million was from Silicon Valley, another consortium in Canada, Toronto, and then Malaysia, right? And 2 billionaires of Pakistan that invested with me. But I had the highest investment and I was the youngest shareholder. I was 32. So I put all my eggs in one basket, right? And I'd categorize that now as probably private equity and high net worth individuals, right? So angel, that we keep talking about, angel is probably the easiest. And if you look at the proper definition of an angel, it's the individual that has a high risk appetite. और आप फैमिली में भी देख सकोगे जिनके cousins बहुत होते हैं doing really well, mamus, chachas, khalas, right? And you can tell by a personality, some have cash, but they have a conservative personality. Then some don't have cash, but they have a high risk appetite. So an angel is someone who believes in one of your ventures that we all saw today and says, okay, this is a high risk क्योंकि ये idea बहुत ज़बरदस्त है, but this may not give me an ROI maybe in a year, 2 years, so I have to wait, or it may also go bankrupt. So वो उनके mind में idea होता है. तो angel का amount इतना ज़्यादा typically नहीं होता, right? This is key. But some of you may be able to raise a lot of angel. For example, I was able to. I was an angel in my own venture, right? Which was $2 million. And my others were angel as well. And they put in $1 million, 2 million. That's very high amounts for an angel investor. So it wasn't structured. Idea was brilliant. Business plan was good, but I wouldn't say where the business plan was good enough to raise $7 million, right? Should have had a lot more financials behind it and market research. And the angel is willing to get you started. But the angel ke benefits kya hai? If they put in $50,000, which would mean what, 1.4 crore rupees these days, right? 100,000 would be 2.8 crore, right? So 28 million rupees is $100,000. Diaspora के लिए तो peanuts है, जो हमारा wealthy diaspora US में बैठा हुआ है या Middle East में बैठा हुआ है. $100,000 is chump change, right? For the wealthy ones. Pakistan में for our elite community also, 28 million is not amount that would hurt anyone's pocket if they're a high net worth individual. So angel is your way to go for most of yours. Friends and families में भी मिल जाते हैं और इंसान को आप age के पत or you can size up a person's personality to understand that they will have the appetite where things do go wrong. So you should always look at the side. I was an internal optimist. When I came back and invested $2 million of my own money, I didn't think anything could go wrong. But my weakness was I didn't understand Pakistan. Right? So buy se सीधा आया Silicon Valley, IBM. I thought Muslim country hai, सारे सच बोलते हैं. So I got a rude awakening when bill bhejta tha aur invoice ही नहीं pay करते थे. Right? So I was totally gora, you know. And now I've been back in my country for 20 years, still optimistic, but I think more practical on raising funds and utilizing funds and advising others. So angel is the way to go. Less risk for you, less risk for them, gets you started, right? Now, when the angel starts going with the seed money, right? And then they see your journey. And the journey, I marked out a couple of key points, right? Aapne unko equity bhi de di. Angel itna lalchi bhi nahi hota, to be quite honest, right? He or she is there to help you get that thing started. But they have money that they've put that they expect, inshallah, if the idea does well, ke unko return bhi milega. So equity stage, and of course, you can call this even pre-seed sometimes. The terminologies you guys have to know. This is important, right? So seed can even be a bigger amount. So you say sometimes investors will ask you, and you'll go through this in all your journeys, okay, how much did you raise in your pre-seed, right? Because they're looking for seed to be a substantial amount. So your pre-seed is actually angel, you know? And then seed capital comes, right? That can be a higher amount. Or in my case is a little unique. $7 million, a lot of money. We called that seed capital, and then big companies started coming to us, right? VCs started coming, PE started coming. So I went, mine was a different, it was a systems integration, large IT outsourcing company. It wasn't a product, right? And then the mentorship you get from that angel investor. So the angel investor is well off, mashallah, he or she have done well in life. So they give you good coaching, right? So that's extremely important. Last time I was here with Kamran, I think cohort 2 or 1?
First cohort, yeah.
First cohort,
Yeah.
right? And it was after the 5-minute pitch.
Yeah.
So many of them I shared excellent ideas. I was really excited because I was coming from the government back into the corporate world after a couple of years. And the thing I thought they didn't have, because they were asking me a lot of questions that their mentor should have been answering, right? So mentorship from your angel is critical. And the last thing is that with the angel, they have a network as well. Remember that, right? So if it's high worth, they then see, okay, this is done well. Jab unka trust aap pe aa jata hai, that's critical. Trust is the key. Ke they said, ye idea hai, aur ye main, I will execute it like this. And then they see the results. Ke revenue shuru ho gaya, thoda profit bhi banna shuru hua. And let me help them get the VC or Series A, Series B. So I think angel pay concentration, I'd highly recommend, Kamran, for this type of group. And angel network, I think Pakistan may formally banani chahiye.
In fact, glad that you asked. हम already जो है एक angel network पे काम कर रहे हैं. In fact, हमारे कुछ इस month में, so we have a series of events. जो कि angels, first angels calling event होगा, in which what we are doing is we are targeting CXOs and those people who don't know ABC of angel investing. We want them to say, यार आप real estate में investment छोड़ो. Although it's high risk again, but return again, higher the risk, higher the reward. So yeah, we are asking for those people who don't have any, they have the network, they have the net worth also, but they don't know ABC of angel investing. So we want to, एक तो उनकी एक specialize उनके लिए कर रहे हैं, Okay, we trained them to become how to become an
So-
angel investor.
Excellent point. You used real estate as an example, guys. So because Pakistan's your future, I always say it's below 40, right? The older generation, and you see the state of affairs in our country, right? So you guys are critical to the economy, in my opinion. A lot of reforms, policies will come from entrepreneurs. Real estate is the worst investment, not for you as ROI, for national development. Why? आपने ये पार्सल लिया, आपने 2 कनाल कह दिया, ये जो टेबल है, अब 2 कनाल हैदर ने फ्लिप करा, उजैर ने फ्लिप करा, फिर आमिर के पास आया, हैदर ने 50 लाख का लिया, उजैर को बेचा करोड़ का, कामरान को 1.5, आमिर ends up with no economic value दो। कुछ अभी तक प्लॉट में डिगिंग भी नहीं हुई, right? No workers have come, no materials have been imported to build the building. All they've done is in 6 quick months from 50 lakhs to 2 crores. Bro, that's hurting our economy, guys. And the big mafias control it. So yes, he's taken the crude name for it, right? So you as youngsters need to understand that I know it makes you a quick buck, but it's not helping our country. कहीं नहीं दुनिया में ऐसे plots quickly बिकते, right? You're selling a piece of land that's barren. It has no economic activity. Your companies have it. You're providing jobs, you're earning revenue, you're providing a service. So excellent that he's getting C-level executives to come and be angels. VCs. So of course I'm going to talk about, in VCs, I'll talk about the difference between A and B, ठीक है ना? What's critical, ठीक है ना? And why you want to wait for VC money, right? And then I'll come to PE. So the series that you always hear, okay, well, in the series A, raise kar liya, series B run kar liya. What does that mean, right? So don't get confused, Ryan. These are just fancy words for the same kind of methodology, except increasing the amounts. So series A means that your company has started to do well and it's coming onto people's radars, right? You've captured a certain part of the market, right? And your VCs will then start looking at your books. So one thing I recommend always is right at the start when your angel even starts. Acha sa, not too expensive, not the KPMGs or PricewaterhouseCoopers थोड़ा महंगा होता है, but for your type of revenues, इतना भी नहीं charge करेंगे if you can afford it. साल का audit अगर आप SME company है, maybe 2-3 lakhs होएगा. It's worth it though. Well, I'll tell you why. Beginning day से आपका governance आ जाती है. So if you'll pay a small auditor, a no-name brand, 10,000 rupees की भी audit कोई कर सकता है. मगर if you spend a little more money and get a recognized tier 1 firm, State Bank website पे जाओ या SCCP आपको मिल जाएंगे या कामरान आप audit firms बता देना सारों को. I can take a bunch of names.
Yeah.
Most expensive for earning revenues up to maybe 10 crore, audit आसान होता है, ठीक है ना? लाख से ज़्यादा नहीं लेंगे. But what it does is it's good for your VC. Your VC says, oh, wow, these guys showed us their gross profit, their operating profit, and their net profit in a very formalized manner, whether Excel or QuickBooks, because you can't afford enterprise ERPs. So the VCs, first thing they'll do is that growth trajectory. What they're seeing is now recurring revenue fees. Heather pointed out, concentrate on ARR, not MRR. Am I right? Excellent point he made. Why? ARR is a bigger number. It shows कि साल में हमने $30,000 करिए जो कोई, I think the girl on the
It was Mohib, make your team.
yes, right. So he said that's a small number monthly, but look what you've done in a year, right? It shows that, and then the VC has analysts. They're called business analysts and financial analysts that pick, okay, look at their Skype, look at their revenue growth, right? And look at their last 2 years audited accounts, right? So then when you're starting to get that place into the market where now you're not a startup anymore, ठीक है ना? You're a good company and the VC is considering you for Series A. Now, Series A is typically, now it's not a hard and fast rule, but Series A will look at a company that they value and they're willing to invest. $10 million starting point होता है कि इस company में जान है कि नहीं. उससे छोटे हो, a larger VC, they're small VC funds, they're family owned, they call themselves VCs, right? But typically, if you're 10 million and above, a VC will seriously look at you. Valuation, you know, And the valuation has multiple models. I think Kamran Founders Institute सिखा रहा है valuation क्या होती है.
So उस पे training sessions हमारे financial
Yeah.
valuation पे होगी.
Right. Then the prerequisites, I highlighted this, is the pitch deck. That has to be very solid. Beyond Kamran, the 5-minute pitch.
Yeah,
ठीक है ना?
absolutely.
5 minutes maybe मुश्किल होता है. I think, yeah, 3-minute थी. वो जो
So
मैंने-
first, the one you saw was 5 minutes.
Was
That
5
was for investor progress.
So a pitch deck, the VC will allow you 20 good minutes, right? It's not an elevator. You will be there to share with them in depth what you're aiming for. Then the exciting part, the network. The VC is now taking a risk on you. Their network is huge. ठीक है ना? And then there, of course, accelerators like you guys. I would categorize you as an accelerator. Great
Yeah.
place to meet VCs,
Yeah.
and of course, angel.
Yeah.
ठीक है ना? So these are the advantage. Now your question that all I get from startups, हमारी shareholding dilute होएगी. So here's the decision point. I just gave an example of a company that did it all themselves on their cash flows and doing remarkably well. They didn't have to raise angel. They didn't have to raise Series A. Now they're at the point their valuation is above 10 million. Interesting, right? So wisdom will set into place probably the second or third year into your venture, right? You're full ops. You'll be able to look deep down inside of you and say, can my cash flow continue that positive that I don't need dilution? So my recommendation to you all, don't worry about dilution and control. And the reason why is if your idea is good and your execution is well, your team is working in sync, and you need growth capital, my always recommend take that capital and then dilute yourself. Don't worry too much about it. Your lawyer or the VC or they'll be able to structure in a way where you still have control, right? So no VC is going to come and say, we'll take over, right? I'll explain that in private equity where they can bring in a management team, but that's at your choice as well. So dilution hoegi. So your question may have been, hey, what happens to my shareholding? Kam hoti hai. Magar aapko jo paisa, network, governance, exposure, because VCs have invested elsewhere. They know your worth, right? So allow that to happen. So that's Series A. Your first significant capital raise, right? That can be now up to $1 million. So the VC will invest in you to share numbers, right? It can go up to 5 to 10 million, depending. When evaluation got 10, but if you're being valued at 50, of course, your investment from the VC is going to be higher as well. And they typically struggle on structuring. So you'll also get confused when you're dealing with them. They keep one lead investor. So the trick for you to recognize is who's the single point of contact representing them. So Heather, Uzair, myself, and Kamran may say, hey, we'll front a fund and investment as one party. Call it XYZ. So they'll say, hey, Kamran se comfort level hai, Kamran se yahan kaam kara hua hai. Kamran's the lead. Piche Uzair bhi hai, Heather bhi hai, aur Amir bhi hai. So also you'll see those signs. ठीक है ना? हर वक्त एक इंसान नहीं होता. Shark Tank में देख लो. Shark Tank देख लो आप लोग, right? So they're representing other people's money, not their own. ठीक है ना? So to summarize, strong business model for Series A, which you didn't need an angel. They trusted you. Your metrics, right, have to be strong. ठीक है ना? Your team they'll be looking at. Your pitch deck I already mentioned. And these are the 4 solid things that you need to have at Series A. Now we graduate. Now you're doing mashallah really well. Now you call that terminology in the VC world Series B. Ab Series B mein you've proven yourself. Whether angel se start kara, pre-seed keh lo, aapne Series A run kara, your business is going good. I think a good example, if we have 2 companies there, although they said ke VC shuru se kara, but I think they raised in brackets, right? We'll hear their story. Yeah, but 13 million ekdam probably nahi mila hoega, I'm right? It's probably cumulative. Yeah, but why 13? Because they were proving and they had a track record. The investor was getting more confident that to bet on these guys, they're generating the revenue, they've got a solid team, right? They know their market, right? And they're delivering on what we saw as their business. So very full clarity comes in Series B. Series B, now your valuation has gone higher. Series B, typically, they won't look at you until your market value. Again, people will play around with numbers, but I'll give you an average. You're worth about 30 to 40 million in valuation, up to 100 million, right? And they can eject up to 10, 15, 20 million, or they'll take that risk. That's what Series B means. So Series B, again, just how? So that you should know when you're hearing these, strong traction, stronger than Series A. Like I said, proven business model, right? Your business plan intact. You know, it's a solid. You're professionals now that have hired companies to help you with the business plan. Team is stellar. Can't just be the starting team anymore. At that time, what's already happened, guys? Yes, the founder is not the CEO anymore. The founder is still called founder and CTO, founder or chief product officer. And then you get a seasoned CEO. And what's a CEO? So don't get confused about this. This is important for VCs. If you have the majority to recognize you're not a naturally born leader, and everyone's not, guys. You can learn through an MBA, but some people are very good leaders. They can manage a startup. They can manage a mid-sized company. That's called leadership. So the chief executive is a leadership position. It's to get the best around you, motivate them to excel. It's not the guy right into the product. Yes, he or she may have domain knowledge, right? So then Series B, the VC is telling you, hey, you're doing really well. Concentrate on your job. Stick to your technology role as the CTO. Stick to your product role. Let us help you. And we're paying the CEO salary. Apna figure kare, right? And you'll get 2 examples of how this, I've gone through it. You know? So my strength has been, I know tech really well, but the CEO role suited me. So any company I went into, they wanted the CEO role because main software nahi bana sakta. That was early on in my career. I can't. I know software inside out, but I can't be a coder now at this age, right? So it's a natural transition that you do. We're still on Series B. Path to profitability. That's the key. So now you're showing your ROI. Are you making 20% margin? Who in the room? Someone said we're running at 40%. Anna? Who did? Bell? So that's good margin, right? So Series B is looking for that niche product line that's giving a high margin because then they're going to make money. They'll even back you for more money, right? That's a secret. The numbers are talking the story. You don't even have to do an elevator pitch. They'll say, show us your financials, show us your team. दो चीजें देखेंगे. Financials or team और उनको समझ आ जाएगी. ठीक है ना? The last point in Series B, you'll become the market leaders in your area. So it doesn't mean globally, but Series B is when they're saying, hey, excellent. 0-1, you are leading. Fucking, you're leading. Movit, you're leading, right? So you are the leaders in what you are doing. You know? Quickly, I think I've taken more time. I'll talk about private equity really quick. Private equity confused na kare. So I said, okay, how do I explain private equity? And these, by the way, I Lahore se jab aa raha tha, maine car mein hi likhe. Right? Maine kaha, jab talk dunga, PE important hai. So I thought, well, how to explain PE? So it's pools of money, capital, that are put together in a managed way, I would say, institutionalized of other people's money. And it's used for 2 things, primarily. One is to scale up. So you're doing really well, and a P comes in, scale up, or turnaround. So one of your startups is doing well. Profit nahi aa raha. ठीक है ना? Revenues अच्छे हैं. Break even तक आ रहे हैं. ठीक है? And the P comes and says, hey, these kids are doing a really good job, but they're young. Let us offer them some management help and a lot of money. And we'll tell them this is your payout if you go along with us. So they become, I call P your partners, they become your partners in the business. That's what a private equity fund actually does. And they have access to institutional investors. They have VCs behind them. They have angels behind them. So PE is a different play. Typically, a PE will look for scaling and turnaround, right? So I think that covers that. How acquisitions में भी help करते हैं. कभी आपको acquisition करनी हो ये उसके लिए पैसे. In my scenario, I've had a base company and I needed money to buy, but I couldn't afford it. We needed a couple of $1 million to buy out another company. The PE said, okay, we'll buy it out for you. You guys manage it. And once you have the P&L and you make up the markup charges, and we will take the ROI plus the profit that you made. So they'll get a huge payout, right? So they have helped you buy and acquire a company. PEs do that. VCs typically won't do that. So a PE is also a powerful tool. So I think on funding, the other ones are grants, guys. So look out for those. There's a lot of USAID, JICA, SIDA, Germans ki kaun si gets GIS or something like that. GIZ. So what they're doing is their goals are aligned with SDGs, ESGs. So if your startups are aligned with those where they do a social impact but are commercially viable, आजकल grant can range from $50,000 all the way to $250,000 I've seen. Solar engineers को बहुत मिले हैं. Logistics में भी मिले हैं for a clean environment, So I would also tell your young startups to look at DFIs, right? The Development Financial Institute that will help you give a boost. And of course, there's loans, but everyone understands what a loan is. So I think those 4 categories would be very good, Kamran.
Yeah.
For your crowd over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We can have a discussion.
We will definitely have this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amar. It was a very, candid, yeah, please. Thank you very much. Very different. Absolutely. Because again, journey starts from, as you mentioned, angel investors one way. Some people, they bootstrap their way to Series A, Series B. So we have certain examples as well. So now the next mentor for this session, I would like to invite Uzair. If you please come on stage, please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. मेरा नाम उज़ैर खान है. I'm the co-founder of MoveIt. We started our journey in 2020 and raised our first round in 2021. So मेरी जो learnings रही हैं, although the scale has been smaller, but it's more applicable to startups at NIC because we've graduated from here and went onward on our journey. So investment को मैं 3 stages में डालूंगा. He explained it in much more detail, so you'll be able to correlate. So the first stage is early stage. Then I'll take you through the growth stage and then the late stage. I'll explain it, why I've put them in these subsections. So when we're in the early stage, या हम जब early stage में थे, तो हमें जो first question अपने आप से पूछना था, okay, why your business? Investors going to ask you should be asking yourself, why would somebody invest in your business? And your focus, जो हमारा भी focus था इधर, was on problem solution, as you talk in your pitches. It was on what is my business model. So business model has been important for us from day one. Maybe that comes for some startups at a later stage, लेकिन हमसे ये सवालात शुरू से हो रहे थे. आपकी USP क्या है, आपके competitors के against, आपका MVP क्या होगा? So these are the early questions. Now, in terms of investment, when I left my first job, I emailed my CEOs there. I'm leaving and I'm going onward to start my own company. We left, we got incubated here, and I kept following up with them. So they actually became our first, what you would call F&F rounds. Amir Saab knows them, Peer Saad, Boston Equity, and all of those guys. So they believed in us. And as young startups, you should be always looking in your circles. Aapne kaam kahan kiya hai, who you're networking with here. someone will come along and maybe they'll like your startup. The next stage, I'll call it the growth stage. This is where you're talking about kind of your seed money, Series A, B investments. Things start to get a little serious over here. We're talking about product market fit हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा, revenues हैं कि नहीं हैं. हमें इस stage पे questions जो पहले नहीं पूछे जाते थे अब पूछे जाते हैं is obviously, are you profitable? Everyone's saying that now in the market. It used to be very different when you started. Revenue पे focus था, high numbers पे focus था. But now we get asked these questions because हम लोग अब seed के raise कर रहे हैं and we've kind of locked in the first round, but we're aggregating more and more people. Again, some questions you'll be asked here is क्या आपकी go-to-market strategy क्या है? Are you experiencing high growth? You have to prove it through your models and stuff. So we struggled at this stage, right? Because when we were raising our pre-seed rounds, the likes of Truckertain came on, the likes of Bridge Links came on, Trucker came on. So जो हमारे पाकिस्तान में VCs बहुत कम है, Zen Capital, Atif Wan, and all of these people. So they had already exposed themselves to companies. So we were finding it really hard कि किस तरह raise करना है, क्या करना है. पैसा कम था लेकिन sustainably चला रहे थे, अपने cash flows को भी reinvest कर रहे थे. So at this stage, at the pre-seed stage, we went after family offices. We went after more angels and some VCs internationally directly. We were lucky enough that VC backed us, and then a few family offices in Pakistan followed on. So that became kind of our pre-seed raise, which was the largest till date, $750,000. And उसके बाद हम late stage में आ जाते हैं. These guys will be able to tell you more about it. This is where you're doing your Series A and exit. But I feel at this stage, at the later stage, आपके पास एक चीज होनी चाहिए from your first stage, which is, मैंने इस company से exit किस तरह करना है, so that investors, when they come on board, you're able to tell them how they'll be able to make money. Exit strategy क्या होगी? आप in a market like Pakistan, are you looking at acquisitions? What are you going to go public? So ask yourself these questions from day one, because when you reach this stage, you have to have a very clear mind. So a little more focus on our journey, right? Started with F&F. I told you through my ex-bosses. इधर हमारे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी था कि शुरू में हमने अपना पैसा लगाया थोड़ा सा as co-founders. हमने revenues दिखाए, हमने दिखाया कि business model is workable in Pakistan, जिस पे फिर F&F हमें मिला through networking, counseling, and but from day one, somehow the market was so difficult for us that we had to focus on sustainability. And then local family offices or local investors really liked that. And that worked for us at this stage. Round two, when we'll call this the pre-seed stage. We continued to operate the business sustainably. We were able to present very strong financial models. We were able to give them very strong projections कि ये आपके पैसे कहाँ जाएंगे और company कहाँ growth होगी. Absolutely clarity on why customers will be sticky to our business. को हम और पैसा invest करेंगे तो customers क्या retain होंगे, जाएंगे क्या होगा. Local investors, local angels के लिए ये clarity ज़्यादा important है, because they want to make money and they want to make money really fast, and they're a little more skeptical about investing into startups as compared to आपके international VCs. So have very strong financial models if you want to raise funding locally in Pakistan. Present real data. So from day one, we've been kind of data को हमने upkeep किया है ताकि उसको use करें to present to investors so that they can see that our data is reflecting growth, our data is reflecting a good business model. Round two was a pre-seed extension. This is where funding in Pakistan started to dry out. बाहर से लोग invest नहीं कर रहे थे. We had to go into survival mode. But the numbers were looking great. We're still not profitable, but there's product market fit. There's a sustainable business. We have repeat customers. The customers are very sticky. हम market dynamics के साथ खेल रहे थे. So हमारे जो current investors थे, they brought in more investors. They invested themselves, and the business kept going. We got contracts in hand, and as we go on, companies inshallah profitable this year. So what is the learning from MoveIt's journey, right? You don't have to earn a north of raise north of 15, 20, 30, $50 million. You can build a sustainable business from day one with little money as well. maybe it'll take you longer to get where you want, but when you get there, then all the doors for investment will open up automatically. Profitable होंगे, sustainable business होगा. अभी क्योंकि आजकल रेस कर रहे हैं, इन्वेस्टर से लोकली भी बात कर रहे हैं, शार्क टैंक पे भी आए थे. So मेरी advice for founders is it's looking like 2026 is a good year to raise because of the global dynamics, interest rates. So aggressively go after it. The dynamic might change in 2027. Prioritize profitability from day one in your venture. And if you get that metric, I think funding will follow automatically. People will chase you actually. Concentrate on high impact ideas that solve global issues. हर कोई ढूंढ रहा है कि कोई ऐसा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो रहा हो जिसके अंदर आप बहुत बड़ी मार्केट के अंदर बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं ताकि दे कैन एक्सट्रैक्ट द मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ इट. सो कीप दैट इन माइंड. अगेन, pitch deck, financial models, data rooms are very important. NIC के बाद, I think the first greatest place to start off your journey is through angels, like Amir Saab said. They believe in Pakistan, they want to invest into Pakistan, and they will actually enable you to prove your business model and validate it for the next level for the international investors. So Movit has raised $1 million till date, and we're through with, I think, 15% of our seed raise. So inshallah, with NIC's help and other investors locally, we'll be able to close a good round. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zair. And as you mentioned, again, you have to start from somewhere, and your journey is very inspiring to say the least, because the time when you, the time when you were raising all these angel rounds, there was a COVID era as well, and obviously a lot of business shut down. And so again, you have to be, you win half of the battle if you are there in the market itself. No, but a virtual online था.
Got incubated 2 months later, lockdown हो गया.
हाँ, इनके साथ ही हुआ. Ecosystem was working. हाँ, it was online. Everything went online. जी. Everything went online. So again, my point is that you आपकी आधी जर्नी वैसे ही जो है वो आपकी automatically आपको हो जाता है. If you are there in the market, you have to be relevant. You have to be there. So वो perseverance तो आपको करनी पड़ती है, irrespective आप जो मर्जी कर रहे हो. So that is the key. And with that note,
I just forgot to add that we actually started as a grocery delivery company and onboarded mentors that told us to like go away from it because big players are investing big money. Yeah. So groceries se phir bike deliveries se phir ab logistics,
So again, this pivoting again, आपको नहीं पता होता. मैं अक्सर इनके साथ हमारे जो सेशंस होते हैं, मैं कहता हूँ कि यार अभी आपका जो आइडिया है ना, 5 साल बाद मिलेंगे आप कुछ और कर रहे होगे. You might be doing. So it happens. Pivoting is what happens. So Heather, I would like to invite you for our last speaking cycle. उसके बाद फिर हमारा round table करेंगे. We'll have some Q&A and interaction with the startups as well. Thank you very much.
अच्छा, थोड़ी आई थिंक गपशप भी करेंगे और थोड़ा मैं कुछ अपनी जर्नी से कुछ चीज़ें मैंने लिखी हैं वो मैं शेयर करता हूँ. तो हमने जब जिस तरह आमिर साहब ने कहा कि जब ये सिलिकॉन वैली से पाकिस्तान आए तो इन्होंने सोचा कि यहाँ भी सब वैसे ही होगा. तो तो हमें एज ए टीम दैट scaled Kareem not only in Pakistan but in Saudi, in Dubai, in Egypt. So between myself, Raza and Sarmad, between the three of us as co-founders of Truckitin, हम इससे पिछले रोल्स में आज से 5 साल पहले अक्रॉस जोग्राफीज करीम के डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट्स डिफरेंट जोग्राफीज डिफरेंट मार्केट्स में लॉन्च कर रहे थे. और मैं थोड़ा सा उन प्रोडक्ट्स को एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ. सो राइड हेलिंग वाज 1, food delivery was 2, Kareem bus या mass transit was 3, Kareem last mile delivery was 4, Kareem payments का बिल्कुल वो उस टाइम था कि जब वो Kareem Uber acquisition हुई. And then that is where we started thinking as an ex-Kareem team, as aspirational founders 5 years ago, कि अगर Kareem के लिए ये सारी दुनिया में कर लिया है तो अपने लिए और पाकिस्तान के लिए कब करना है. तो वहाँ पे जो बड़ा सवाल था जो फंडिंग के लिए सबसे ज़्यादा रेलेवेंट है, जिस वजह से मैं ये सारा अपना तीनों का कॉन्टेक्स्ट बता रहा हूँ, कि वाई लॉजिस्टिक्स, वाई सप्लाई चेन एंड वाई अस। ये सवाल हमसे सबसे ज़्यादा पूछा गया क्योंकि हमने करीम की सारी सीनियर लीडरशिप के साथ N-1 N-2 के लेवल पे काम किया हुआ था, स्टार्टिंग राइट फ्रॉम मुदस्सिर शेखा ऑल द वे डाउन टू जुनेद इकबाल. सो जुनेद इकबाल वाज लाइक so we were a part of Junaid's team. So we are very happy to say that we got to learn from the best in class in the technological entrepreneurship back then. तो हमसे ये सवाल बहुत ज़्यादा होता था, जो हमने मतलब पहले 2 साल जिस पे बहुत मेहनत भी की. 1 साल हमने सिर्फ R&D इस चीज़ पे की कि वाई which industry to tap in एंड वाई आर वी मोस्ट रेलिवेंट फॉर दैट इंडस्ट्री. यानी सोल सर्चिंग भी करते रहे और R&D भी करते रहे. तो उसमें सप्लाई चेन एंड लॉजिस्टिक्स की जिस तरह उज़ैर ने मूविट के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात की कि इनको इन्वेस्टर्स ने कहा, हमारे यानी हमारे का मतलब है ट्रगेटिन के, हमारे कंपेटिटर्स के बम्पर या मेगा फंडिंग राउंड इन लॉजिस्टिक्स देख के कि इट्स अ बिग सिग्नल फॉर द मार्केट कि कुछ तो है जो इतना पैसा ग्लोबल VCs लाइक ग्लोबल फाउंडर्स कैपिटल तक इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. एंड वी वर एबल टू रेज $17.5 million प्री सीरीज ए, यानी प्री सीड राउंड किया, फिर एक एक्सटेंशन की प्री सीड की, फिर एक सीड किया. सो लाइक 2.5 to 3 राउंड्स में 17-17.5 million डॉलर हमने उठाए. तो उसमें जब हमसे ये पूछा जाता था कि वाई यू, तो उस पर 2-3 चीज़ें VC या इन्वेस्टर कोई भी, और मैं जिस तरह आमिर साहब ने कहा कि वो एक जर्नी है, ज़ाहिर है पहले दिन से तो VC इन्वेस्टर हम भी नहीं लेके आए, लेकिन हम हमेशा से फोकस किए थे कि वी वांट टू स्केल इट बिग बिकॉज वी हैव सीन द स्केल्स इन मल्टीपल प्रोडक्ट्स एंड सर्विसेज बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट्स अक्रॉस ज्योग्राफीज, राइड हेलिंग से लेके लास्ट माइल तक. तो हमारा ये विजन क्लियर था, जैसे और उज़ैर ने बात की कि आपको शुरू से कुछ पता होना चाहिए कि विच पाथ डू आई वांट टू गो ऑन, चाहे वो एग्जैक्ट स्ट्रेटजी की डिटेल मैकेनिक्स हो, चाहे द काइंड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट आमिर Saab was earlier referring to, what would be the most friendlier and a strategic investor for you to onboard for your own venture and your own ambitions. तो उसमें हमसे जब ये पूछा जाता था कि वाई सप्लाई चेन, तो हमें पूरे साल की R&D का एक सादा जवाब ये था कि जब भी किसी स्टार्टअप के P&Ls पे बात होती है, ऊबर हैज़ बिन स्ट्रगलिंग with its profitability and all of us know वो क्या जर्नी है, और same has been true for a lot of services based tech startups. तो हम हमेशा बैठ के ये सोचते थे कि कोई तो ऐसी इंडस्ट्री होगी विच इज़ इनहेरेंटली प्रॉफिटेबल. तो हमें जवाब ये मिलता था कि सप्लाई चेन वो इंडस्ट्री है कि पाकिस्तान जैसी फ्रेजाइल इकोनॉमीज़ में जहाँ पे मैक्रो पॉलिटिकल चैलेंजेस भी हैं, अगर जंग भी छिड़ जाए, तो सप्लाई चेन इंडस्ट्री इज़ मोर रेलिवेंट देन लेस रेलिवेंट. So going after an industry that has to be the backbone of whatever humans are doing, like there is no better definition of lack of seasonality than that, right? So the industry has its good peaks, but it doesn't have its bad peaks, so to speak, in terms of the need. So that was one. The second part was so in the services digitization, and especially in the B2B space that we are in, every middleman or every stakeholder is making money. So if every stakeholder is making money doing things the way they were done in 1780s and 1880s and then 1980s and then 2080s, so like why should not there be a way to make money by digitizing or making it more efficient? So those were the two things. So again, मैं अपनी जर्नी नरेट इसलिए कर रहा हूँ कि हमेशा जब भी आप फंडिंग में जाएंगे तो किसी भी टाइप का इन्वेस्टर आपसे ये पूछेगा वाई दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड वाई यू. अब वाई यू वाला मैं थोड़ा सा बता देता हूँ. तो हमसे पूछा जाता था कि आप लोगों के क्या एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं. करीम वाज डेफिनेटली अ बिग वैलिडेशन अक्रॉस मार्केट्स एंड टेक्नोलॉजिकल डोमेन्स. फिर हमसे पूछा जाता था कि आप तीनों का आपस में क्या कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री स्किल सेट है. तो वहाँ पे वी हैड टू पोजिशन इट इन अ वे, जिस तरह आमिर साहब ने बात की कि there are people who are good in people management and leadership. There are people who are more technically minded, analytical and logical. Then there are people who are good with marketing, sales, etc., etc. So you have to identify कि वो क्या कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री मिक्स है, एंड यू हैव टू वोकली कम्युनिकेट इट कि ये इंडस्ट्री, ये मसला, और हम लोग, इस तीन को सुन के कोई भी इन्वेस्टर ये कहता है कि यार दे नो व्हाट दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट। तो ये एक पहली चीज़ है फंडिंग की। इस फ्रेमवर्क को मतलब ना सिर्फ हमने यूज़ एंड अब्यूज़ किया, बल्कि हम आगे भी कभी कोई फंडिंग राउंड करेंगे तो इसी टेम्पलेट या इसी मेंटल मॉडल को जो मैंने भी आपको बताया अपने सामने रख के करेंगे। इवन दो आई हैव एक्सपोज द मेंटल मॉडल to to a competitor, but like it's in the good competitive spirit, and again
I
we are
just
we are
want to
friends as well.
ऐड जरूर करूंगा मैं यहाँ पे कि you know, you come as experienced founders, right? And the contrast is we came as unexperienced founders, बाहर से पढ़ के आए और startup शुरू कर दी. So that was always a great added benefit, you know, and a
और ये
problem for us.
बेनिफिट हमें सिर्फ आप पे नहीं था, ये हमें आमिर साहब पे भी था, क्योंकि यानी आमिर साहब का मतलब है कि मैं इसकी अपने करीम एक्सपीरियंस से मिसाल देता हूँ। सो आप सब ने करीम और ऊबर यूज़ की हुई है। व्हाई डिड यू गाइस चूज टू बुक अ करीम ओवर एन ऊबर 5 years बैक? क्योंकि ऊबर ने ये सोचा, वही सैन फ्रांसिस्को माइंडसेट, कि Pakistan is a market that can be operated from a distance by deploying the technology on its own. That's not the way it works. हमने ये कहा कि पाकिस्तान में it requires a very hand-on, experiential, trust-building kind of a model, because this is a very kind of different market compared to San Francisco, both in terms of the law and order and the gender realities of it. तो ये बड़ा कॉमनली आप सब लोगों ने सुना होगा, मैंने सुना कि एक ऐसी मार्केट जहाँ पे आज तक मैं अपनी सिस्टर को कभी किसी उसके दोस्त के साथ भेजते हुए 100 दफ़ा सोचूंगा कि व्हाट आर द रिस्क दैट आई एम गेटिंग इनटू और शी इज़ गेटिंग इनटू, वहाँ पे ये कैसे हो सकता है कि कोई भी गाड़ी कोई भी रैंडम बंदे के साथ बुक करा के पाकिस्तान की पूरी जो एक हमारी ख़वातीन है वो दे विल स्टार्ट मोबिलाइजिंग, बट दैट इज़ हाउ वी डिड इट एट करीम, क्योंकि हम सारे प्रोसेसेस इस मसले को सोच के बना रहे थे। हम ये नहीं सोच रहे थे कि वो टेक्नोलॉजी जो है वो कितने एफिशिएंटली ड्राइवर का फ्रॉड पकड़ेगी। दैट इज़ द नेक्स्ट स्टेज। सो वी नीड टू बिल्ड द ट्रस्ट इकोनॉमी फर्स्ट after we build the optimization economy or the layer second. So that is how we beat Uber at this game. So we had that advantage of being close to the market, and that advantage definitely has helped us deliver in the supply chain and logistics, because we have been super close to the market, and the way we have been presenting the reality and the way we are solving those challenges to the investors resonated with them more compared to every other team that they talked about. That is why we were able to raise more in hindsight, because उस वक्त तो पता नहीं होता कि हम क्या कह रहे हैं, ब्रिजलिंग्स क्या कह रहा है, फलाने बाकी सारी कंपनीज क्या कह रही हैं। खैर, सो कमिंग बैक, व्हाई यू एंड व्हाई दिस मार्केट, ये मैंने पहला कुछ थोड़ा सा बताया। इस पे जो एक्सपीरियंस फाउंडर्स वाली उज़ैर ने बात की, आई थिंक दैट इज़ वेरी क्रिटिकल। वी डेफिनेटली फील ब्लेस्ड एंड प्रिविलेज्ड। हमने कभी नहीं सोचा था आउट ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी, करीम से पहले आई वाज विद यूनिलीवर इन द सऊदी, वहाँ पे उनकी सप्लाई चेन और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में देख रहा था फॉर द वेस्टर्न प्रोविंस इन सऊदी, बट लाइक दैट वाज अ वेरी काइंड ऑफ अ डायनासोर काइंड ऑफ अ रोल। बट असल में हमने ये, जिस तरह उदैर ने कहा कि करीम में एक्सपेरिमेंटल लैब वो हमारे लिए बनी। तो मैं एक ये मशवरा ज़रूर दूंगा, इधर मैंने इस तरह की कुछ पिचेस में आई थिंक मोहिब की पिच थी, एक आध और इस तरह की पिच थी, जिसमें आइडिया मेरे ख्याल से सादिया की जी इवेलिया की पिच थी। तो उसमें आइडिया काफ़ी मज़ेदार था, इवेलिया का ख़ास तौर पे। लेकिन उस पर अगर आप ये वैलिडेशन बताएं कि मिसाल के तौर पे जो काम इवेलिया कर रहा है, ये इंडोनेशिया में या ये केनिया में या नाइजीरिया में, क्योंकि दो आर डेमोग्राफिकली कंपेरेबल मार्केट्स, इसी बिजनेस मॉडल पे XYZ कंपनी इस स्टेज तक ग्रो कर चुकी है। सो यू आर इमीडिएटली बाइंग योर सेल्फ वैलिडेशन फॉर अ बिजनेस दैट यू योर सेल्फ विल टेक 3 to 6 years टू प्रूव टू योर सेल्फ इन द मार्केट। सो वो दैट इज़ वेरी क्रिटिकल। एंड फ्रॉम द गेट गो, जब मैं अपने केस में R&D की बात कर रहा हूँ एज एंड बेस्ड ऑन आवर लर्निंग्स फ्रॉम करीम, तो हमने उस पूरे साल में, 1.5 साल में यही किया कि हमने इंडिया, इंडोनेशिया, कीनिया, नाइजीरिया, ऑल द कंपेरेबल जो जो डेमोग्राफिक्स हैं, वहाँ के सारे बिजनेस मॉडल्स ना सिर्फ स्टडी किए, बल्कि वी वेंट आउट एंड वी स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग टू दोज फाउंडर्स एज वेल। सो लाइक वेरी फ्यू पीपल डू दैट। तो हमें पाकिस्तान मार्केट का तो पहले ही एक एडवांटेज था, बिकॉज दैट इज़ वेयर वी आर फ्रॉम, और वो हमें ऊबर पे एडवांटेज था, जिस वजह से हमने ऊबर को बीट किया देयर ओन गेम। बट हमें फिर दूसरा एडवांटेज ये मिला कि दुनिया क्या कर रही है, ख़ास तौर पे जहाँ वो हमसे 3 से 5 साल आगे। तो ये आपने ज़रूर करना है, अपनी किसी भी पिच में देखें कि हु इज़ योर, not exactly Amazon or Google, but who is someone as a company that is 3 to 6 years ahead of you in the curve। जिस तरह आमिर साहब ने वो पूरा कर्व एक्सप्लेन किया कि देर इज, और उसको 3 सेगमेंट्स में उज़ैर ने भी तोड़ा कि अर्ली स्टेज, वैलिडेटेड स्टेज एंड लेटर स्टेज। तो आप देखें कि आप अर्ली में हैं तो कोई वैलिडेटेड स्टेज में तो कंपनीज बैठी हैं। सो टॉक टू दोज पीपल एंड लर्न फ्रॉम देम एंड अडॉप्ट योर मार्केट। अच्छा, अब आ जाते हैं थोड़ी सी मज़ेदार, और मज़ेदार भी क्या, पेनफुल कह लेते हैं, रियलिटी है ऑफ द मैक्रोज इन द फंड रेजिंग वर्ल्ड। सो पिछले 4 साल पहले या 3 साल पहले जो गोल्ड रश आपने पाकिस्तान में देखा, वो इसलिए था कि हिस्टोरिकली फेड के रेट्स वर लाइक एट 0 डिग्री रिटर्न, और मतलब उससे नीचे तो फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट था, उससे नीचे रेट्स जा नहीं सकते थे। तो मनी इज ऑलवेज लुकिंग फॉर प्लेसेस टू टर्न अ बक। सो आपका जो भी पाथ है उसमें वीसी वाली डिटेल्स में तो बाद में कभी जाते रहेंगे, उसकी वो उस दुनिया की जो मैक्रो रियलिटीज़ है वो ये है कि जब पाकिस्तान जैसी फ्रंटियर मार्केट्स, और पाकिस्तान हमने बैठ के अपने सारे, क्योंकि हमारे काफ़ी सारे हमारे जो लीड इन्वेस्टर हैं दे आर दी फाउंडर्स एंड ऑपरेटर्स ऑफ द डिलीवरी हीरो एंड द रॉकेट इंटरनेट ग्रुप। तो वो खुद बड़े हैंड्स ऑन किस्म के ऑपरेटर्स हैं, और उनको हम हमारे साथ इन्वेस्ट करने का, उनको शायद हमें ये लगता है इन हाइंडसाइट ना हो, कि जब उन्होंने देखा कि यार बड़े हैंड्स ऑन किस्म के टेक बेस्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं तो ये कुछ ना कुछ करके निकलते रहेंगे, बिकॉज द मार्केट नीड्स दोज काइंड ऑफ पिवट्स, जिसकी बात उज़ैर भी कर रहे थे। तो उनसे जब हमने पूछा समझा तो हमें पता ये चला कि पाकिस्तान या फ्रंटियर मार्केट्स जनरली, और आमिर साहब डेफिनेटली हैज अ लॉट मोर एक्सपीरियंस ओवर देयर, उनके पूरे पोर्टफोलियो का इज़ लेस देन 2 to 5%। यानी मतलब इट्स नॉट समथिंग दे इवन थिंक अबाउट इन अ फोर्टनाइट, राइट, एट द वेरी लीस्ट। और फिर उसमें जब मैक्रोज इस तरह से चेंज हो जाते हैं कि आपके फेड का जो इंटरेस्ट रेट है वो 1% से या 1.25% से उठ के 4-5% पे चला गया है, और आपकी जैसी पाकिस्तान जैसी जोग्राफीज में देर इज़ पॉलिटिकल टर्मोइल, देर इज़ अ करेंसी डिप्रिसिएशन, मतलब ये बात अजीब है, लेकिन सो a huge chunk of our fundraise we lost it to the currency depreciation reality because of confidential reason। मैं वो परसेंटेज यहाँ बता नहीं सकता, लेकिन वो सोचते हुए मुझे घबराहट होती है, आपको सुन के ज़रूर होगी, मैं इतना ज़रूर कह सकता हूँ, बट बता फिर भी नहीं सकता। तो वो उसकी सिंपल मैथ ये देख लें कि से एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ डॉलर्स हमने इन्वेस्ट किए इन पाकिस्तानी मार्केट, बिल्डिंग द टेक्नोलॉजी, बिल्डिंग द user behavior B2B side पे, changing the economics and the operationalization of it, 150 160 के रेट पे, and the moment we went back to the market to complete our cash flow cycle तो रेट 250 से 300 पे गया हुआ है। so that's like a loss of 40 to 70% in value। कोई ऐसा बिजनेस मॉडल नहीं है पीकेआर में जिसमें आप फंडिंग उठाएं यूएसडी में, इन्वेस्ट करें पीकेआर में, और 4 लोगों के बैठे बैठे, कोई स्टेट बैंक है या जो भी है, उनका फैसला हो कि भाई अब हमने डॉलर को फ्री फ्लोट करना है, और फिर एकदम से वो डॉलर डंडा रिजीम आ गई और वो फ्री फ्लोट भी खत्म हो गया, एंड लाइक इट्स मैडनेस। तो वो ये 2.5 साल पहले क्योंकि हमारे साथ हुआ, हम इस पेनफुल रियलिटी से गुजरे, और तब हमें जो, खैर इस सेशन के लिए भी इधर कामरान के साथ मेरा इंट्रो शहरियार हैदरी ने करवाया, वाज वन ऑफ आवर फर्स्ट एंजल्स, एंड आई विल टॉक अबाउट दैट जर्नी इन अ लिटिल व्हाइल। तो उस वक्त शहरियार ने मुझे कॉल करके पूछा कि हाँ भाई मज़ा आ रहा है तो मैंने कहा मतलब मज़ा तो आ रहा है। उन्होंने कहा कैसे मैनेज कर रहे हो, लाइक वो जो इतने बड़े बड़े P&Ls बनाए थे, एंड देन द मैक्रोज आर लाइक किकिंग यू रियली इन द बट। वो जो मीम्स हम देखते हैं ना कि देयर इज अ बिजनेस प्लान ऑन एक्सेल एंड देन देयर इज अ बिजनेस प्लान दैट द मार्केट थ्रोज एट यू। तो वहाँ पे भी रीपिवटेड एंड रीस्ट्रेटेजाइज्ड के यूएसटी बेस्ड जो रेवेन्यू बेस है उसको बिल्ड करना है। तो जिस वजह से जो अभी आमिर साहब हम बिफोर द सेशन बात कर रहे थे कि हमने अपने प्रोडक्ट को, अपने टेक्नोलॉजी को रेवेन्यू सेंटर बनाया। पहले इट वाज एन इनेबलर टू द प्रोसेस, तो अब हमने उसको मॉडल को चेंज किया एंड देन वी ऑब्वियसली एक्सपैंडेड द टेक्नोलॉजी इंटरनेशनली, व्हिच इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, इट डजंट हैव टू बी ज्योग्राफी सेंट्रिक, इट इज ज्योग्राफी एग्नोस्टिक। तो वो हमने 2.5 साल पहले किया, और दोज आर द काइंड ऑफ पिवट्स दैट आर कीपिंग अस फ्लोट। एज अ फाउंडर आप सबकी वही जॉब है जो मेरी जॉब है, जो उज़ैर की जॉब है। वी हैव टू कीप द लाइट्स ऑन फॉर आवर टीम। सो वो पैसे, एंजल्स की सबसे खूबसूरत बात ये होती है कि इट कम्स विद नो filters attached, no conditions attached. So they are like the most beautiful people in the practical sense possible. Like ये जो बात है हमारी जर्नी में, हमारे लिए एंजल्स, देवसाई वेंचर्स के अब एंडेवर के जीएम है शरियार हैदरी, वो भी रहे, बट ही आल्सो केम इन एज एन एंजल अ कपल ऑफ एंजल्स डाउन द लाइन। और शरियार से मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन करवाया था मेरे आईबीए के 20 साल पुराने कोई एलुमनस थे। वो एक किसी हॉस्टल फेयरवेल में आए हुए थे और वहां से कनेक्शन बना। सही है, लाइक शरियार एंड आई आर बोथ फ्रॉम लाइक द ट्विन सिटीज। सो बट शरियार को मैं यहाँ से जानता नहीं था, आई हैड टू गो टू कराची टू कम बैक एंड गेट टू मीट हिम। तो उस वक्त जो थोड़ी सी आखिरी बात मैं करूँगा उस अपनी स्टेज पे कि हम वीसी साइट तक पहुँचे कैसे, तो उसमें ये था कि एज अ फाउंडर बिकॉज वी हैड टू कीप द लाइट्स ऑन, करीम में जो थोड़े बहुत हमने मतलब सेविंग्स की, जो स्टॉक्स से हमें थोड़ा सा बेनिफिट मिला, और वो अगेन थोड़ा सा मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि कुछ लोगों को बहुत ज़्यादा भी मिला, बट मैं थोड़ा सा उसके टेल एंड पे करीम को ज्वाइन किया तो मेरे स्टॉक्स कम थे, वरना आई वुड हैव बीन एट अ बम्पर लाइक साइड ऑफ इट। तो उसमें हमने पहले 8 से 10 महीने बिजनेस को मतलब कैश फ्लो ब्रेक इवन पे चलाया, और उस टाइम पे हम ये सारी फंडिंग और ये सारे एंजल से भी बात कर रहे थे। एक्सपीरियंस वही था जो करीम का आपको बताया, यूनिलेवर का बताया, रज़ा का और सरमत का। और तो उसमें ये सारे लोग यही देख रहे थे, शहरियार से लेके तो हमारे करीम के कुछ क्लोज ग्रुप तक। उन्होंने कहा कि यार ये इन लोगों के साथ करीम में भी काम किए हुए, ये वहाँ पे भी ठीक थे, लगता था इन्हें चीज़ों की समझ है। कितनी है वो बाद में पता चलेगा, बट पैसे दे देते हैं। तो दैट इज़ हाउ वी स्टार्टेड। हमने कोई तकरीबन $2 से 3 लाख एंजल के रेज किए होंगे। बहुत भी मैं याद करूँ तो शायद 4 लाख होंगे, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होंगे। बट उसमें इसी तरह के देवसाई वेंचर्स हैदरी वाज वन, उनका एक सिग्निफिकेंट टिकट साइज था, बाकी $20,000 50,000, दैट इज़ वेयर वी स्टार्टेड। वो पीएनएल लेवल पे सैलरीज पे करनी है। अब खुद करीम से हम क्या 80-90% सैलरी डिस्काउंट लेके आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो दुबई की सैलरी यहाँ तो बीट नहीं हो सकती, वो टैक्स फ्री भी है, ऑल ऑफ दैट। खैर, तो वो शुरू के 8 6 8 महीने ऐसे गुजरे, और फिर जब हमारा पीएनएल या हमारी ट्रैक्शन देखते थे, तो उस वक्त अब मार्केट का चैलेंज ये था कि ये कोई फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड मार्केट तो है नहीं कि जिसमें मैं ये जाके क्लेम करूं कि ऑल ऑफ दिस इज टेक बेस्ड ओनली, बिकॉज ये एक B2B बड़ी रिलेशनल किस्म की नेटवर्क हैवी इंडस्ट्री है, जिसमें खान ट्रांसपोर्ट को मैं कॉल में लाता हूँ और वो 100 गाड़ियाँ भेज देता है। खान ट्रांसपोर्ट इज द ब्रोकर फॉर नेस्ले फॉर एग्जाम्पल। तो अब हाउ डू आई कन्विंस खान ट्रांसपोर्ट टू स्टार्ट यूजिंग माई टेक्नोलॉजी बिकॉज ही थिंक्स आई एम हिज कंपेटिटर? So like so that is where we pivoted to an assisted digitization model where Khan Transport is limited. The moment he provides 100 vehicles to Nestle and he gets another order from say Unilever, and now he doesn't have the supply pool anymore. That is where the convincing came in, both on the supply side of the market and the investor side of the market, that the adoption would not be compared to Careem and Ubers or the swivels and airlifts, because it is not a B2C market, it is a B2B market, and it has its structural behavioral challenges to it. And our investors luckily believed us. So that is how we convinced them that the value will be created in the long term, because this industry has been developed in the long term. So ये कुछ रियलिटीज़ हैं जो मैंने कुछ बड़े सवालों के साथ अपनी जर्नी की बड़ी कैंडिडली शेयर भी की। और इसमें आई थिंक एक पॉइंट और भी मैंने लिखा था हाँ, सो आई थिंक वो यही था कि वीसीज की तरफ जाने से पहले आप सारे लोग ये सोचे, जो हमने 2.5 साल पहले सोचना शुरू किया, कि क्या मेरा बिजनेस मॉडल पीकेआर पे आरओआई तो जनरेट कर रहा है, क्या डॉलर बेस्ड आरओआई जनरेट कर रहा है, बिकॉज दैट वाज द हार्ड क्वेश्चन फॉर अस 2.5 years back. If it is generating ROI just in PKR, it's not worth investing your efforts in, to be candid and to be painfully candid. So ये कुछ चीज़ें, I think that is it. बाकी details तो बहुत सारी हैं. So yeah.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. सो आई थिंक हम जरा फॉर्मेट थोड़ा चेंज करते हैं. आप सबकी इंडिविजुअल डिस्कशन पे आप हर एक ने आपने अपनी शेयर की फॉर प्रोसेस. नाउ विल मेक इट मोर एंगेजिंग. तो सर प्लीज स्टेज पे ही आ जाते हैं एंड लेट्स टेक सम क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द फाउंडर्स हियर एंड आल्सो द वन हु वांट्स टू जॉइन. प्लीज आप इधर, क्या आप इधर आ जाए, मैं इधर आ. हाँ, थोड़ा आगे आ जाओ ताकि फिर भी मेक इट मोर एंगेजिंग. So हम क्वेश्चन लेते हैं. So before we ask the questions from our founders here, कुछ questions सर मेरे हैं. So we'll take it from there. अच्छा, so what is your personal opinion? मैं आप सबसे ये question है. So that because आपने वो किया, what is the right time to think यार मुझे पैसे raise करने चाहिए? Some people think they are here for funding, but we think while working with them कि no, they are not ready yet. अभी इनको नहीं करना चाहिए, अभी focus करना चाहिए business पे. Some people, they on the contrary, they think they don't need to raise funds, but we think yeah, it's time for them to raise funds. So आपका अपना हर एक कब से मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि आपके इस पे इस पर्टिकुलर थिंग पे व्हाट्स योर ओपिनियन ऑन दैट. उज़ैर, हम आपसे शुरू करते हैं. आमिर साहब, फिर विल कम टू यू एंड देन अगर आपसे.
So I personally think कि startup है तो funding तो raise करनी. I mean, let's be clear about that. But you should start thinking about funding or raising जब आपका business कुछ generate करना शुरू कर दे. Especially पाकिस्तान जैसी market में ideation पे बड़ा मुश्किल होता है raise करना. So when you're generating something, improving something, and you have some numbers, then you should start thinking about raising. When you think you need more resources, you need to expand, you need money for that. So that would be a right time to raise.
ठीक है सर.
So it's varied, Kamran. So one is your own belief in what you're doing. So, and that's a question that internally you know yourself. So I'd say it's a combination of your heart and your soul, and your mind is the money making machine, but your heart tells you what you're doing this for. So the passionate CEO slash founder will distinguish himself anywhere in a room. SME market in the world's largest economy, which is the US, drives your middle-age professionals and your income, right? So they have Fortune 500s, they have Fortune 1000. These are billion-dollar companies. But if you look at the core of the US economy, it's SME, and that's the young entrepreneur. You look at Italy, really interesting. Small companies, but entrepreneurships, high quality, high margins, right? So my answer to funding would be, if you really believe in your product, you worked hard, and you've been able to do the angel side as much as you can. I call the angel, an angel is named angel for a reason, and he shared the characteristics. They're the most beautiful. I think you call them beautiful human beings.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because they're taking a leap of faith on you, to be quite honest, right? So even before going to an agent, have you validated this in your mind? Have you exhausted all resources to get to that 1-year revenue figure? And do you know that your basic financial model, detail mini business plan mein jana, okay, this is going to make money. And then that will inside of you tell you that paise chahiye hain, right? I need help. And then you have the angel, you have, I talked about the VC, PE, and then everything will line up. If you're not sure yourself, if you're beating around the bush, get entrepreneurship, quite honestly, globally, not just in, it's become a fad. Company खोल, ठीक है? तो अगर कंपनी खोलनी है, वो एंजल को शायद नजर ना आए क्योंकि पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप एंजल्स के साथ होती है. They'll trust you. VC को एकदम नजर आ जाए. Like for example, I'll be dead honest, not blow. It takes me about 5 minutes to see if this is going to be a home run. 5 minutes lag jate hain to size up an opportunity. And then if that 5 minutes I'm convinced, then I'll spend 5 days with the young entrepreneur. I don't mind giving my 10 hours a day with 5 days a week, investing 50 hours of my time without even taking anything to say I'm going to help this company. Right? So I think the answer to funding is your core gut, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. Your inner soul talks to you because you've left a job and you're starting a journey. It's hard. आपने कहा अदने के जब छोड़ी जॉब आपने उबर से सॉरी करीम से वो इनकम लॉस भी हुआ, टैक्स फ्री भी गया और पाकिस्तानी रुपीस में 90% of your salary plus putting your own money. You did. So those are very, very high risks. So you will know when you need funding. The right time in that journey, I can't give you an answer. You'll know it.
All right. Thank you very much. Heather, same
Yes,
question.
I think this is a great question. And again, so goes back to what I was earlier referring to as founders and the way all of us are sitting here. Our first job is to keep the lights on. And the way we have looked at the lights again is the kind of business that we are building and the kind of investments that we need to get there. So for example, I need to invest in technology resources, which means the team, the facilities, and factoring in all of that, I need to deliver a revenue of say X million or $100,000, right? X $1,000. So what does the runway or the timeline look like in terms of the cash available in the bank today? So one rule of thumb that has been super instrumental for us to keep ourselves float across the macro tailwinds and headwinds that we battled through because of being in the B2B space over the last 3 years in Pakistan was this one simple equation or metric set. So what is the revenue that we need to get to? What are the investments or the costs associated in delivering that revenue? And what are the timelines or the runway, simply speaking, that is left ahead of us before we have to pull the plug or turn off the switch? So like that's the most critical question. And that is how we are doing it, have been doing it, and will keep doing it for us at Rakuten. Another important advice is, so for example, say that runway is 6 months to 9 months. So you don't have that much time left. So you have to start going into any sort of fundraising efforts if you are still committed with that idea, if you still believe and know that this space can be made big and it is worth your time even after the 9 months that the money has run out. So you need to give yourself the room of 6 to 9 months before you run out of that cash to go into any sort of meaningful fundraising efforts, regardless of where you raise those funds from angels to private equity.
Sir, please.
One of the things I learned early on, you might not have the money at this in your startup phase to have a good CFO. Get someone who knows finance well. So I'll confess myself at 32 when I moved back to Pakistan, because I came from IBM, finance was taken care of. So I tried to do the P&L balance sheet myself, and I wasn't trained. So if I had a good finance manager, he would have said, your cash flows are this, monthly receivables, मैं receivables पे आंखें नहीं रखता था, क्योंकि contract sign हो रहे थे. So I think the funding part, because you use metrics, I think critical, Kamran, कोई यहाँ at least in NIC एक financial expert regular visitor होए,
Yeah.
or they attach themselves to, it doesn't have to be CFO level, someone who can look at your books and give you guidance, because typically founders are not good at finance. At least I wasn't as a founder 20 years ago. So that's
Well,
another.
Well, that's the idea that's the area we have already identified, because what we have seen after doing, since these guys have come in, so I have done one-on-one sessions with them. My team has done one-on-one sessions. We have identified their challenges. We identified their strengths. And to sum it up, most of them, they need help in finance. Yes, finance is one area which, because, yeah, so it's a common thing. And for that, we have arranged a series of trainings for them. So some are from the very basic of finance, because they need the basic words. उनको term sheet क्या होती है, balance sheet क्या होती है, P&L होता क्या है. So trust me, आप इनसे पूछोगे शायद इनको नहीं पता होगा. अगर पता है तो मैं I will be surprised. So exactly. So we'll start from there, and then फिर हमारे जो again हमारे कुछ initiatives which we have taken, which we are planning to take, उसके लिए हमने इन्वेस्टमेंट रेडीनेस प्रोग्राम इज वन थिंग. तो दोस्त हमने कुछ जिनको हमें लगता है कि इनमें पोटेंशियल है, तो उनके इन्वेस्टमेंट रेडीनेस के पूरी सीरीज ऑफ इवेंट्स होंगे, सो दैट वी मेक श्योर कि यस दीज गाइस आर इन्वेस्टमेंट रेडी. नाउ सो नेक्स्ट मेरा अगला सवाल वो ये है कि व्हाट आर दोस रेड फ्लैग्स as so a question for so it's a question is a it's a different question for you two and different question for Amir Saab. For you two as a founder, what are the red flags that you see? Okay, this funding, this guys wanted to invest in us, but ये मुझे कोई red flag लग रहा है, we should not pursue it. It may looks lucrative, लेकिन long term में हमें damage कर सकते हैं. वो कौन से areas हैं? That's the first thing. For you, sir, question is if you're investing in a founder or a startup, what are the red flags for you as an angel investor or maybe as a VC that you think, oh yeah, I think we should avoid investing in it?
हमारे लिए जो थे red flags, I wouldn't know many, but one that I identified was कि you got an investment and the investor is taking it too much of a right to the next round. कि अगले round पे he's capping it and there's a larger amount. So वो थोड़ा सा हमारी red flag रहा है एक दो investments में. But generally, otherwise, it's been a smooth sail.
Okay, cool. Heather, same question.
So I mean, it's definitely a loaded question. So I was trying to think through our journey. So let me rephrase it a little bit. So what are the things that the investors generally prefer? So because whatever is opposite of that is a red flag, right? So the big things the investors are looking for is the business model viable, or is it a red flag, right? Is the team and the experience that they are showcasing, is it real? Does the team have the right, not only the background but also the integrity, right? So that is very critical, and that comes off in the investor discussions, especially in the earlier part. The investors have dug through us directly to our bones, especially in the early years, and because again, I would share the example of Shahryar here because that's the most relevant one in the Pakistani context. So Shahryar and I had a at least 3 hour long session in Serena where he almost x-rayed me, right? Like I was almost out of stories that I could share from my personal life, from the business model, from why Sarmad, why me. So it was enlightening and exhausting at the same time, right? So, and at the end of that session, Shahryar commented to me and then later to Sarmad, because then he was connecting with Shahryar remotely, that let alone a red flag, I was not even able to identify an orange flag, right? And that became kind of an internal joke at Struck It In, the way we are. So when I look back to, for example, that conversation and what are the big things that he asked me, why this business model, why me and Sarmad,
So,
because
sorry,
the going gets tough.
so I have to, I think, rephrase it. So it's so then to say about red flags for as a founder, I'm talking about as an investor
Yeah, yeah.
with a red flag. कि
No,
वो
no.
कौन सा ऐसा investor है?
Exactly. That is.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what are the red flags in an investor? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question.
yeah. So
Okay.
question कि
Right.
एक investor है, he wanted to
Right,
invest with
right.
you, लेकिन आपको
Right.
लगता है नहीं ये गड़बड़ होगी.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no. I was answering just the investability part.
नहीं ठीक
So
है,
what
ठीक होगी.
makes a team, a business,
बिल्कुल सही.
the people investable, right?
ठीक है,
So
ठीक
yeah,
है.
that's done. So
All right,
in terms
okay.
of the investors, so we have taken a very conscious approach.
Uh-huh.
The investors have to be operationally hands-on. For example, again, the example of founders of Rocket Internet and Delivery Hero Group, Talabat just did the biggest IPO, which again is a Delivery Hero company. So we were able to see that, for example, the board at GFC is 20 years ahead of us. So we were able to see that. So there was that affinity or a kind of likeness to the kind of path we are on, because they have built similar service digitization industries and very successfully so. So that's one. It has to be relevant to your field and to your way of operation and industry. So that's one. The second would be it has to be strategic, both in terms of the market that you want to capture and the growth that you have planned for your next year. So in our case, our strategic investors include the Yunus brothers or the Lucky Group. So ICI is a big group, right? So when we are talking about supply chain digitization, if ICI or the Lucky Group is our investor, so like they have very big companies across fertilizer, sugar, power, and whatnot, right? So if we can digitize it for them, there is definitely a PMF that was referred to earlier. So the strategic depth not only has to be there, it was not only there for us internationally, but it was there for us locally. Fatma Group is another such investor for us in Pakistan, right? And Fatma Group is again a big group of companies across sectors like Lucky Group. So having those backers built not just the right confidence, but provided the ground where we wanted to play in digitizing the supply chain, right? So the investor has to be ahead of your journey, professionally speaking. The investor has to be strategically aligned, and the investor has to have a strong mandate or a investment thesis for the industry that you are in. And we have seen this with a couple of investors, and so some of them did not have supply chain in their investment mandate when they were talking to us in 2019 and 2020. But later, when they saw these bumper rounds happening, as Uzair was mentioning, so they got that FOMO, fear of missing out, right? And now they are suddenly interested about what is Truckerton, what are they doing, what is Bridgelinks, for example. Those are like just good to have kind of investors. So yeah, so and we onboarded them because Mudassir Sheikha, who is the CEO of Kareem, provided us this advice back in the day during our time at Kareem, that you don't raise funds when you need to. You raise funds when you can, because the market is the biggest external, the invisible hand of the market, the classical Adam Smith at play over there, right? So in that sense, these were the big things that would have to work out in an investor. If it was the polar opposite, we would. And this happened to us in a lot of cases when we were raising this big money. A lot of local Setia mindset, property tycoons from our family and friends started reaching out to us, ke aap humse paise le le. Like from my friends, from Raza's friends, and from Sarmad's family and network. और उनको हमने बड़ा कॉन्शियसली मना किया, क्योंकि आपसे पैसे इसलिए नहीं लेने हैं, बिकॉज फर्स्टली यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड स्टार्टअप, सेकेंडली यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड टेक्नोलॉजी, थर्डली यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दैट इन्वेस्टिंग इन अ स्टार्टअप इज अ 98% losing game purely based on the statistics, right? And you don't have an appetite for that because again the file system that you are accustomed to mentally. So the investment thesis also has to align with the natural growth or metamorphosis of a startup's journey, or a
Mhm.
life cycle of a startup journey. And the traditional investor doesn't think like that. So that's a red flag, right? आपने पैसा
Yeah.
बनाया है, आपने क्रिप्टो में पैसे डाले, आपने डबल छाए आप basically, mentally speaking,
Exactly.
but you don't.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
100. So आप हाँ. Yes, so
Absolutely.
that is a different mindset. The investor has to have that mindset of value creation, not just capital creation.
Yeah.
So that's a red flag.
Nico, take it. Amir Saab, same question regarding the red flags.
So वो हैदर ने कहा कि शेरिया ने एक्सरे सीना में कर दिया, तो मैं शिफा में अपॉइंटमेंट करता हूँ।
सही बात है।
शुक्र है एमआरआई और सीटी स्कैन नहीं हुआ है, हाँ। Shifa has a cafeteria as well. So the biggest red flag that we get when we see, and I बहुत मुश्किल से I've just walked away from one. Young kids, brilliant kids, they're trapped right now on thinking their idea is so big and they can make money that they've become stubborn in their approach of not doing an audit, right? So when you can't show your numbers, so they'll come, they'll tell me excited, yes, yes, I know, yeah, yes, I know, yes, I know. 50 MOU signed, it's not turning into cash, right? So the number one red flag for me is what you're saying, Angel. Trust is there, but what is your balance sheet showing? Have you started to at least sign contracts? No. If you're not got signed right, you don't have earned revenue, right? There's still MOUs. So that's one. Concept clarity to actually revenue generation is a red from me. The second red flag will probably be if you can't get the leadership team that's promised to execute, because like I said, ideas are many and some brilliant ideas. Your key to success in any journey, and you're seeing two right now, is the execution. I repeat that with young entrepreneurs. बहुत अच्छे आइडियाज अभी तक दुनिया में पड़े हुए हैं क्योंकि एक्सिक्यूट नहीं हो सके, राइट? सो द एक्सिक्यूशन में की आ जाता है टीम, that finance overlaying everything, right? And of course, getting from, because the topic today is funding, getting the ROI, right? So no one's here for charity. You want to make money. So the red flag will be, the second red flag is a big one, is very quickly able to assess they cannot execute. You know, those are the two red flags that then I start pulling away. फिर थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड में हेल्प करते जाते हैं क्योंकि नियत अच्छी होती है,
ठीक है।
बट कैश नहीं रिस्क कर सकते क्योंकि आई रिप्रेजेंट other people's money as well.
Yeah, very good. All right, thank you very much. So over to you guys. Okay, for those who are joining us virtually here, अच्छा हाँ, मैं एक सेकंड में बात करूँ कि
अच्छा,
एक सेकंड, अगर आपके कोई क्वेश्चन है यार, आप प्लीज रेज हैंड का वो फीचर है जरा वो यूज करें ताकि मैं फिर आपको बुलाऊं. जस्ट डोंट अनम्यूट एंड स्टार्ट टॉकिंग. मैं फिर देन यू नो आई कैन से पिक ओके अभी आप क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. जी मुहेब, आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है?
यस कामरान.
अच्छा जी, ओवर, हाँ क्वेश्चन करें प्लीज.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, आई एम मोहिब. अभी मैंने पिच भी किया था. सो माय क्वेश्चन वुड बी टू ऑल थ्री ऑफ यू. What advice do you guys have for a 19-year-old first-time founder on basically navigating the conversations with investors, senior professionals, or industry experts? I mean, how do you decide what to share about your company and what to hold back in those conversations?
Okay. Yeah.
What was his name? Sorry.
Mohib.
What worked for us, because हम आप पे सारे पढ़ लिख के कोई आइडिया नहीं था, इन्वेस्टर से बातें कर रहे थे, is getting mentors on board. So we got industry experts on board, like Ali Usman, for example. He was heading Endeavor. So you need people who can tell you exactly how to pitch, what numbers to work on, XYZ. So for me, these people, advisors, consultants, is super important, and that's my advice.
Sir, what do you?
Boy, no. Repeat it. And you're 19, and how to get into the
Yeah. I'm
That's your
19 years old basically, and I was supposed to go into university last year, and I dropped out of MBBS completely, and I started building this stuff. So I've been doing this for the past 2 years, and I'm all in it. And one thing that I experience most of the times that I'm talking to professionals, that the age gap, number one, is really immense. And of course, the experience gap is also immense. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm building, but sometimes it can be a very daunting experience. So I'm just trying to understand from the point of view of first time founders or investors, how do you basically decide कि यार ये बंदा इस तरह का है, बेशक ये प्रोफेशनल है, how do you decide कि यार मैंने अपनी कंपनी का ये पार्ट ये शेयर नहीं करना and I have to share this?
So let's use you as a case study. How many months of leeway do you have till you need money? How many months can you last?
So we're basically making money from the company and we're using that as a runway. So as I said, we are doing 1500 MRR. We are not taking any salary as a founder. We don't have a team. So it's basically very lean.
So you're very lean. You're gonna last about a year to do this until it starts pinching. So immediately, my advice would be, because you're part of NIC,
Yeah.
get into the angel network. Right now, you're not. My opinion is you're not VC ready. Look at your family, friends. If you feel you're confident with your business model, in your 1 minute pitch, I couldn't access your business model in depth, but it was good. We gave you a 4, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So it's ready. Build a solid pitch deck now. Show how you're going to grow that ARR as Heather pointed out, not monthly revenue. And then I think if you can sustain yourself for a couple of months, be patient. Patience is also key. Instead of getting worried that you may run out of cash, keep sustainable and get friends and family to sustain you to grow the business to a not even profitable number, but a sustainable number that a value proposition can be built into a full business plan. I think that would be because you're very young right now and you're getting exposure and your absorption capacity is much more than an elder person. So you'll absorb in 1 year more than a 30-year-old entrepreneur, right? Because you're learning more. See?
All right, awesome.
All right, thank you. जी, हैदर आप कुछ ऐड करते हैं?
Yeah, so Mohib, I mean, you have done a couple of good things. So quitting MBBS is definitely a decision that will build, or even for the first time you have flexed that strong decision making power, which is super instrumental in any founder's journey or in any leader's journey, so to speak. So good job over there. And because you did that a couple of years back, I would absolutely recommend getting connected with the big companies or the startups, not the companies, in your space, and with the remote equation that has transformed the world post-COVID. This is very much possible for any aspiring entrepreneur like yourself. And the reason I recommend that is because once you get into a big corporation or a startup that is again X years ahead of you in the same space and the journey, you'll get to understand the nitty-gritties of it, because there are nuances to every space that any of us operates in. And those and solving those nuances will definitely see you through in terms of what worked for that business and how it can work for you. Like, that's the key part. Again, the first question that I talked about in my earlier presentation, that why you and why this industry. So the same question applies to you. So you left MBBS for something that you had an itch for, but why that itch? Why not another one, right? So again, once you have that figured out, I think the rest of it is like very templated or very structured, which you could very quickly pick up on, as my fellows mentioned over here, that you need to get yourself plugged in with the right mentors. You need to understand the right structures, the right metrics, the right language, so to speak, to get through to the investor. So again, that language is again a language of business, a language of understanding your idea and pitching it in a manner that you and your idea stands out. So I think that is at best, if I were to put a time frame to it, it would take someone as young as you less than 6 to 12 months to actually get on top of that. And that is even if you are lazy, because these things are not hard. Once you've already done the hard part. So get plugged with, you're already plugged in. That is why you
So this program, the Founder Institute, it's structured in such a way that if done correctly and done in its true spirit, you'll be able to, get the growth of 2 years in 4 months. So the kind of it's the way it's structured. And these guys, you can ask them. I've not made up my mind these things. You can ask them. For those who are doing these, who will be doing it properly. Yeah, they've been doing it. Yeah, absolutely.
And in a lot of ways, if I were to give you just one yardstick where to measure if you have cracked that investor communication code, it's your pitch deck. I mean, if there are 10 to 11 slides that you can break your mind and heart upon, so you have made it, because that is how we have done it. That is how Airbnb did it when they did a raise. That is why the business recorder or the business insider keeps throwing these clickbait ads that read about the deck that raised X million dollars, because that is where the entire action is happening. So you need to start thinking about those 11 slides and what you talk in them.
Thank you very much. Haji, Taimur, over to you. On kar- हो गया? हाँ, on है. हाँ.
Assalamu alaikum. A background about myself, that tech background, engineering की डिग्री है, उसके बाद दुबई चले गए, वहाँ पे I've been working for 5 years. ठीक है, आइडिया आया which I saw after working, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में भी अपनी कंपनी चला रहा था, तो I worked with few universities, दुबई में भी काम किया, तो I figured out a problem कि यूनिवर्सिटीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, बच्चे बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, तो राइट काइंड ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ एंड स्कॉलरशिप्स हमेशा मिस हो जाती हैं. सो व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक इज़ अ मार्केट प्लेस फॉर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ एंड स्कॉलरशिप्स, जहाँ पे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हमारे साथ ऑन बोर्ड हो रही हैं. यूएई के ऐसे पाकिस्तान के अंदर कमीशन बेस्ड काम है, जिस तरह से कंसल्टेंट्स ऑफलाइन करते हैं, हम वो चीज़ सारी ऑटोमेट करना चाह रहे हैं कि बच्चा एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म से नस्ट में भी अप्लाई करे, कॉमसेट्स में भी, रिफा में भी, हर जगह अप्लाई कर दे. सेम फॉर द स्कॉलरशिप पार्ट. नाउ द थिंग इज कि मैंने आइडिया स्टेज पे भी, बिकॉज दुबई बैकग्राउंड था, आई नो द इन्वेस्टर्स, तो $100,000 वाज नॉट एन इशू, मैंने इजीली रेस कर लिए. नाउ एट दिस स्टेज हम लोगों की प्रोडक्ट MVP पे रेडी है. अब क्या इशू आ रहा है कि आई कैन रेस 1 मिलियन 1.5 मिलियन, ठीक है, बट जो ज़रूरत है दैट्स अराउंड 300 to 350 फॉर पाकिस्तानी मार्केट इफ़ आई फोकस ऑन दिस वन एट द मोमेंट. क्योंकि मार्केट फिट होने के लिए एंड हैविंग द मार्केटिंग बैकग्राउंड, हेड ऑफ मार्केटिंग, आई नो कि किस तरह से अभी फॉर टाइम बिंग टिल द प्रोडक्ट इज मार्केट फिट, आई नीड टू स्पेंड लेस एंड लेस एज मच एज आई कैन. सो आई वांटेड टू आस्क ऑल थ्री ऑफ यू क्वेश्चन कि जो $300,000 वाले बंदे हैं, दे आर मोर लाइक एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स. आई नो देम पर्सनली, आई नो कि बहुत अच्छी फेवरेबल कंडीशंस हैं. लेकिन जो 1 मिलियन वाली चीज़ है, दे आर VCs, थोड़ी स्ट्रिक्ट कंडीशंस हैं, लेकिन आई नो आई कैन गेट इट डन. So if you were at my place, what would you have done? $300,000 for a 1 year runway till you get the market fit revenue आपके पास हो, आपके पास यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑन बोर्ड हो. हमारे पास ऑलरेडी 50+ यूनिवर्सिटी से बात चल रही है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स भी कुछ के साथ हो चुके हैं, और हम लोग अभी कुछ स्टूडेंट्स को मैनुअली ऑन बोर्ड करके वो फीडबैक लेने के लिए वो लूप में हम लोग उनको चला रहे हैं यूनिवर्सिटीज के साथ. जो ऑन बोर्ड होती जा रही हैं, हम लोग उसको ऑफलाइन चेक कर रहे हैं, बच्चों से फीडबैक ले रहे हैं. बिकॉज एजाइल मेथड की वजह से आई एम टोटली फोकसिंग ऑन द फीडबैक कि एक बार प्रोडक्ट जितनी अच्छी होगी उतनी आई नो आई कैन गेट द मार्केट एंड द यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑन बोर्ड एज सून एज पॉसिबल. हमें UAE से भी बहुत पॉजिटिव रिस्पॉन्स है. तो वुड यू थिंक कि आई शुड फोकस $300,000 फॉर 1 ईयर, या 1 मिलियन अगर मिल रहा है तो बस ले लिया जाए?
अभी आपके कोई पेइंग कस्टमर्स हैं?
हम लोगों ने भी लॉन्च नहीं किया, वी आर एट प्री सीड.
अच्छा, सॉरी, बिफोर आप क्वेश्चन करें तो इसको मैं कहता हूँ द क्यूरियस केस ऑफ स्कॉलर बीन. के स्टार्टअप का नाम है क्यूरियस केस ऑफ स्कॉलर बीन. आइडिया स्टेज पे $100,000 रेस किए. तो मैं कहता हूँ ये तो मुझे बताओ, ये तुमने कैसे किया? सो गुड जॉब ऑन दैट.
अभी हम प्री सीड स्टेज पे हैं, मीनिंग वी हैव नॉट लॉन्च्ड, बट because of my background and I know the guys, तो I know कि raising is not an issue because they've seen me working. 4-5 साल से जानते हैं, they know कि किस तरह का बच्चा, उन्हें पता है कि यार ये चीज़ लेता है तो कर लेता है. As you said के founders पे उन्हें है, तो they are willing to bet on it. ठीक है, इशू सिर्फ ये है कि शुड आई गो फॉर द, लेकिन क्योंकि मुझे अभी जितने भी इन्वेस्टर से मैं मिल रहा हूँ पाकिस्तानी बेस्ड इन्वेस्टर्स, देर से कि यार जो मिल रहा है बस ले लो, बट आई एम नॉट इनटू के यार 1 मिलियन अभी रेस किया जाए, बिकॉज आई डोंट नीड दैट मच मनी एट द मोमेंट।
सही, आई थिंक बहुत अच्छा सवाल है, और अच्छा सवाल इसलिए है कि जो जो आमिर साहब ने मेंशन किया ना कि कौन सी टाइप ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट किस स्टेज पे चाहिए, सो वो एक पार्ट है, और दूसरा पार्ट उससे बड़ा है कि कब लेना है, और मतलब कितने पैसे रेज करने हैं और किस टाइप ऑफ इन्वेस्टर से रेज करने हैं, राइट। तो इस केस पे ना एक जो बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड ऑफ कॉशन है, बिकॉज वी हैव बीन डाउन द वीसी पाथ। जब कोई भी स्टार्टअप, हम तो सिर्फ एक एग्जांपल है, पाकिस्तान में पिछले 4 सालों में ऐसे आई थिंक एटलीस्ट 20 to 30 डिफरेंट स्टार्टअप टीम्स हैं डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में, जिन्होंने नॉर्थ ऑफ $10 million रेज किए हैं थ्रू द वीसी, या इवन 5 million, तो शायद 50 से भी ज़्यादा स्टार्टअप्स होंगे। और उसमें से, ये मैं सिर्फ अपना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, उन सब फाउंडर से, क्योंकि किसी न किसी लेवल पे हम लोग कनेक्टेड हैं, या हमने उनके साथ प्रोफेशनली पाथ्स करीम में भी क्रॉस किए थे बिकॉज ऑफ दैट करीम माफिया इफेक्ट इन पाकिस्तान या इन द रीजन। तो एक चीज़ जो उन सब की और हमारी एक्सपीरियंस वीसी फंड रेज से रहा, कि जब आपने $1 million तक किसी वीसी का रेज कर लिया ना, नाउ यू आर सिटिंग ऑन अ रॉकेट। इट्स नॉट कि अब आप, नाउ यू कैन नॉट गो बैक टू ओल्ड और सस्टेनेबल और स्लो वेज ऑफ, और small scaled ways of doing things. That is challenging, depending on the industry that you are in, or that might be challenging. तो ये इस सवाल को आपने पहले सोचना है कि do I want to like get on a rocket ship right now, or like is like do I really want to like burn millions of dollars before I crack something, or do I already see a business that can be sustainable and that can float me throughout my next 5 to 10 years? So वो एज अ फाउंडर आपका ख्वाब है क्या, कि वो एक वीसी बैक्ड रॉकेट शिप बनाना है? और जब मैं कह रहा हूँ कि यू आर ऑन दैट रॉकेट, तो ये दिस इज लाइक द मोस्ट diluted like way in terms of communicating the expectations that VC capital has of the ROI or the return and the growth factor that they are looking for, because the investment is structured as such that 2 or 5% of startups have to generate the ROI of next 95 or 98% of the failed ones. So is that really the kind of trajectory that you want to be on? Because it's a very stressful one. So it feels over here. So 4 साल हमने यहाँ पे carry किया, and I'm still carrying that today because we are not completely out of that journey. वो आपने सोचना है। पैसा आता हुआ बुरा किसी को भी नहीं लगता, और उसको फंडिंग पे, जिस तरह मैंने मुदस्सिर की पहले एडवाइस कही कि यू should not, must not raise when you need, you must raise when you can. So that is golden advice. Endeavor kai. So Mudassir is the like executive chairman for Endeavor, and like again, Mudassir has been, I mean, one of the biggest transformational things in the startup space. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. हाँ, so ये तो आप पहले सोचें ये, और उससे भी पहले आप ये सोचें कि आपको उस वीसी की उस हाइपर ग्रोथ, हाइपर रिटर्न, या गो बिग और गो होम जर्नी में लगना है, या आपने ये बिजनेस इसलिए शुरू किया कि $1-3 लाख में मैं इसका कोई पीएमएफ सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस मॉडल निकाल के किसी और कंपनी को बेच के निकल जाऊंगा, जो बात उजैर ने पहले की थी कि व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली द काइंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल फ्यूचर दैट यू सी फॉर योर सेल्फ। वीसी का फाइनेंशियल फ्यूचर क्या है? वीसी का फाइनेंशियल फ्यूचर ये है, यानी वीसी पाथ का फाइनेंशियल फ्यूचर ये है कि आइदर यू विल गो 10x to 100x, यानी 0% स्वेट इक्विटी से आप स्टार्ट हो गए, यू कैन गो 10x, 100x, a million x depending on the space and the performance, or you'll go home, and the probability of going home is 98 to 95%, hence the very high stress bar and the very high mechanics that you need to be able to deliver against, not as an individual but as a team and as a market. So ये तीनों levels पे सवाल है। और दूसरा पाथ क्या है कि मैंने $1-3 लाख से एक बिजनेस खड़ा किया, एंड इट इज़ अ डिसेंट ROI, और इसके बाद मैं कोई ऐसा बिजनेस करूंगा विच हैज़ द पोटेंशियल ऑफ 10x to 100x रिटर्न। तो ये आपके बिजनेस मॉडल से पता चलेगा कि आप क्या वीसी इन्वेस्टेबल भी हैं या नहीं रिटर्न्स के लिहाज से। और दूसरी साइड ये है कि जब एक दफ़ा वीसी से इन्वेस्टमेंट उठा ली, नाउ यू विल आइदर क्लोज लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स हैव इन पाकिस्तान, you don't have an option to go slow. So you need to be aware of this.
Sir.
So your name? Timur, do you know this market extremely well globally?
Yes, UAE and Pakistan. I do have the experience.
Global university market ka?
Global जो है, they are mainly focused.
Pakistani students only? It's so I know this area well, that's why I'm asking you domain questions. So the largest right now, company worth out of, you heard of a city called Waterloo in Canada? Rim, Jam, BlackBerry money. So unka valuation हुआ है इस model पे about $3 billion.
सर ये माइक हो कहने की
नई आवाज आ रही?
अब आ रही
अब
है
आ रही है।
अब आ रही है हाँ
So
जी
it's about $3 billion. I'll get you the company's name as well. So your ROI on this, whether the $300,000 or $1 million you're asking, VC will have many conditions that Heather said, right? They've just given an offer in principle. Contract आपने नहीं देखी, stipulations नहीं देखी अभी तक. काफी strict. VC has given you a formal written offer, right? Yeah. So my advice would be this portal is dependent on your technology because I'm in this space, right? So is your portal up and working right now? Question number one. For students from Pakistan applying to the region? Only Pakistan. It's a fixed fee. Counselors होते हैं. You're automating it. So your investment is in the portal. It's the tech you're using, no? Okay. So again, आपका अगर dollars में raise कर रहे हो, आपका revenue अभी पाकिस्तान का है. Right? That's the business plan you've shown them. So that's low. There's 270 universities in Pakistan. It's a 60-40 split. Public sector. Who? Achha. So GCC market does not have the world's largest attraction of students. The Pakistanis, yeah. So that's why I'm asking you. The largest students that apply is number one to the US, आजकल Australia. Have you studied this global market?
बिल्कुल.
आपको GCC में पाकिस्तानी student बहुत कम मिलेगा.
That is why they are actively investing in the universities. At the moment, the government side is also investing heavily in the studies and the education के बच्चे हमारे पास आएं. So that's why I'm getting very good offers के they want कि जो इस तरह के portals हैं ये हमारे पास हों जहाँ पे हमारी universities जो हैं वो top पे हों और बच्चा हमारे पास करे. अब जिस बच्चे को नहीं
Okay,
पता.
I'll take this offline with you. I know this business very well, right? So I'll share my thoughts. I can't give you an answer whether you take VC money or 300,000. Won't be fair without understanding what you're doing, right?
Oh,
The cautious side would be the 300,000, right? If you can grow your business, but थोड़ा सा depth में इसको study करो. बहुत बड़ी ये market है इस चीज में. How many universities in the GCC? 16. You know how many universities in the US? कितनी? Guess करो. No one's gonna apply to India. So I know this domain, right? So I'll speak to you offline.
आपकी stage पे the two most important things that mattered to me was my equity and my what do you call it? What support I'm getting from my investors. So whoever you go after, angels या VCs, इस stage पे जितनी कम equity दोगे और पैसे लोगे to prove your idea or to scale it, will be better for you, and you'll save up enough to raise the VC rounds later and give away the equity that they ask for. Because I feel personally, हमारे पास इतने VCs नहीं है, VCs ज़्यादा extract कर लेते हैं, BS angels, हाँ जी. So early stage when you're proving the concept or you're going after the market and trying to kind of validate it and show Amir Saab why it's like, so great. I think you should spend less money and give away less equity, prove it, and then go after the big money.
कमरान भाई
Yes.
एक चीज ऐड कर लूं
जी जी
what my idea is कि जो यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं देयर कॉर्पोरेट्स लाइक नस्ट को ऑन बोर्ड करना बिकॉज मेरे अबू नेवी रिटायर्ड हैं मेरे चाचू आर्मी रिटायर्ड हैं तो नस्ट में घुसना थोड़ा सा इजी वहां पे हुआ अगर मैं नॉर्मल बचा तो मेरे लिए कभी भी इजी ना होता
So, no, Timur, I helped build Nast. I was the advisor. So that's not how they work. Right? So universities will never be exclusive with one agent. Trust me, I'm part of the triple helix model, right? So we work with universities across the world. No university will say XYZ company is the only one that will allow us to come through the portal and give you a commission. It just doesn't, the model doesn't work like that.
So you can take it offline. You get discussion now because I want
Yeah,
others to
नहीं,
give chance as well.
मैं क्यों
Uh-huh.
question that? Concept clarity is key.
Yes, absolutely.
So his concept needs validation.
Yes,
So,
I agree with you.
And this
I
is my
agree with
domain.
you.
Right?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
ठीक है बिल्कुल सही है जी हाँ हाँ आप आ जाओ बैठ जाओ What I don't understand, I don't value that well, and human that in itself is something to do. And that so when we look at every I don't even understand how they raise half a billion dollars. The same way they would. That sort of, what I don't understand is how do I value my idea? Not mention, not understand. So, it's also the government not going to have one more. And that's it. So my question is the more general question, value after value creation. How do I judge my model idea and how do I
just to understand the space that you're exactly in, and again from because we are in the supply chain space, so we understand some of the stakeholders. So are you the manufacturers, or like will you be the manufacturers or the designers, because those are two very different things? Right, so the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers. Okay, right. Right. So yeah. So the challenge. So a couple of questions before I come to the value creation part. So I understand the OEM equation that you are gunning after. Um, as an OEM, which is again a manufacturer, what would be your USP against the Indian manufacturers, the Chinese, the Taiwanese, even the American? Firstly, in terms of the business model, and more importantly, is your business model more hinged on innovation or innovating than on scale or the economies of scale? So, what's the thought over there? And the reason why you're able to deliver on that lower cost is because of the cheap labor. Okay. The duty structure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 So exactly. Yeah.
You need big money.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of because we talked
So,
about the red flags.
yeah.
I could because of again uh, I definitely don't understand the bikes manufacturing space as such, but I understand the businesses and the supply chains. Um, what prevents from any group worth their salt in Pakistan in getting this license? So like, what are the barriers to entry to exactly wipe you off in a click? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
subject matter.
Yeah. So it's a niche.
So you should mention this thing that you have been a lead engineer in the UK-based company which made the fastest bike. Yeah.
Here the premise. And you're very bold to do this out of Pakistan.
Yes.
Wow. That's just a huge value. I don't think anyone can answer your question right now. So it's a brilliant idea. Value proposition will be your cost base that you're saying for the Pakistani market, and then you want to go global. You're creating a global brand in which Pakistan has never even played. So Atlas, Honda, did the motorcycles, right? And they had the highest sale. I think they got up to 5 million bikes being sold in a month, but under 200 cc. Right? So you're at high end. This is the lead customer. This is a lot of money. This is a large manufacturing facility, global branding, top management team, designers, marketing, penetration. Yeah, a lot of
Exactly.
You know what the type of investor you need? Visionary.
And an institutional one as well to get the right coaching at this stage in terms of finding the customers for the cost efficient.
Like this is like motors. We had an investor come in. Let me give you an example to give you an idea.
Yeah.
During the STGA days, they wanted a technology zone license.
Mhm.
Came to meet the former prime minister.
Okay.
They wanted to build racetracks in Pakistan and bring their racing. Excellent. Italian.
Interesting.
And they just asked for one thing, that we get a license to import those cars, right? Because they're expensive. These are McLarens, Lamborghinis, right? And they said that we will develop the whole thing. We'll bring phone direct from FDI, right? Which is good. We do the job creation and training in Pakistan. We want special license that we can import everything because, you know, the duty in Pakistan, just regulate. So we were getting close to saying, okay, start R&D here, and you qualify the technology zone license and R&D allowed.
Okay.
So this is that type of problem.
So I think. So I think in terms of getting yourself the right value, both in terms of the investment that you want to raise.
Finish.
Yeah. No worries, no worries. Continue.
Thanks.
So yeah, I think in terms of finding the right value. So are you talking about finding the right market for it, or are you talking about finding the right investors for it? Because cheek. Yeah. Yeah. No, bilkul. I think this is a great question. And again, value in terms of investment is measured in two things: the short or the medium term value and the long term value. So the value that you're talking about over here is mainly the investors betting onto the future of the technology or the promise of technology that is being developed, right? So there is definitely a market. So for example, the closest like example I can think of to what you are trying to do is, and again, that is why I asked the question whether your value is going to be based off of innovation, which is the technology part, or is it going to be based off the sales, right? It's innovation. Yeah, yeah. So I got that. So I think in that sense, you have to lay out for investors the beneficiaries or the buyers of that innovation in the long term. So you have to validate that part. So Zero Bikes is definitely doing that for their investors to be able to convince them to invest today so that they can capture the market that will be ready to be disrupted, say 5, 8, 9 years down the line. So you have to validate that bit. That bit seems to be missing today.
Yes, please.
Hello. Assalamualaikum. So if I need to remind the whole pitch again, so we're in okay.
Yes.
So we're an HR tech company, and we're building Pakistan's or one of the world's first AI-powered hiring managers that can shortlist resumes. So current recruitment solutions, they can screen resumes, but they don't shortlist. They don't find the best candidates. Isme, when we launched, we got over 1,000 rejections before we finally cracked into the first client. And we started, like, we knocked into different companies' doors, and we snuck into a lot of companies to find our first clients. The major challenge we faced with those companies was, one, we were students. I have 5 years of experience in AI in product engineering. I worked with startups across US, in the UAE, in Pakistan. Even though I had that experience, just that age gap, or just being the university student, put me at a disadvantage, because every time I went into these offices and these CEOs, they बोलते थे कि good job beta, excellent FYP, but हम खरीदेंगे नहीं आपसे. So that was a major challenge. And the other challenge we faced was when we, after a few, getting a couple of clients, we got a bunch of So we got approached by a bunch of investors from Pakistan and outside of Pakistan as well. And the challenge we faced there was, even though they loved the product, loved the whole idea, loved the traction, the moment they found out कि हम पाकिस्तानी हैं, उन्होंने बोला कि we can't work with Pakistanis. So regardless of domain expertise, regardless of traction, regardless of everything else, Pakistani hona and a student hona, founder hona, that put us at a major disadvantage. Because you guys are Pakistanis and you guys are relatively young for successful founders, how did you guys navigate this whole landscape of Pakistani hona and also being young at the same time?
I mean, earlier we were talking about the red flags. If an investor says no to investing in you because of your nationality, like there is no bigger red flag than that. And without naming anything here, there are very few like geographies or demographic ethnicities that would call that out so explicitly, and it's like you can count them on maybe one or two fingers. So yeah, so that's good that they said no to you. That's fine. It has happened to a lot of my friends in the cybersecurity space, because that's again the space that some of those geographies are big in. Anyways, so coming back to your question, I mean, good job on getting access to those CEOs, but are we talking about the CEOs that are not part of your family and friends?
No, these are all CEOs that we met at different meetups. Again, we snuck into meetups because हमें allow नहीं था. These were exclusive meetups. We used to usually sneak into those meetups to find these CEOs, और फिर वहाँ से we used to set up meetings with them.
I mean,
and
good
offer
job
these-
on the hustle for sure. So that's good to know. I think instead of fixating mentally or focusing on that you are young, that somebody called you a student or a Pakistani, like those are all the poster startup gurus were students and operating out of their dorms at some point, right? Like it's a badge that you should wear with honor. It's not a badge that should like weigh you down mentally. It should like energize you up for being daring enough to sneak in and get those conversations that were otherwise impossible. So yeah, don't think about it too much. Instead, reframe the conversations in a manner where stop introducing yourself as a student, first of all. So why do you say that you are operating out of XYZ university and XYZ semester? Like why is that your introduction? Introduce yourself as a business owner and operator and whatever role you are in as a founder. And focus the conversation more around the problems that you are able to solve and can very quickly solve for them in the space that you are in. So reframe the conversations. It's just a framing challenge, and it's not a big challenge.
You have to like fight the dynamics, right? When I used to go out in the market, ye bhi gaye honge logistics mein, truckers or vendors wouldn't take me seriously if I went out in a jeans and a t-shirt and a clean shave and gel back hair. So wo apna front change karne wali baat hai. Like he said, don't introduce yourself as a student, or maybe set up a team, a sales team. This is mostly sales and pitching, right? 2-3 older people, jugaad, who's the front and kind of selling that business. So that's my key advice. I haven't come across many investors who have identified me or like refused me because of my ethnicity. So that's rare, and if it comes, you should refuse it yourself.
Yeah, so इसमें एक और जो मेजर चैलेंज था वो ये था कि even though we had the domain expertise, हमारे जितने भी co-founders हैं, I have 5 years of experience in AI and product engineering, different startups के साथ. Even my co-founders have also been working with different startups for 4 to 5 years. Pakistani होने वाला जो major मसला था, that was for 2 reasons. One, these investors and these customers from outside of Pakistan, they did not trust Pakistan enough to work with Pakistani companies. Second, yeah. Second, your major issue that was data privacy, because we are dealing with people's personal data. They do not want to be involved with a country that is notorious for selling data to different other countries as well.
I mean, you surely got a skeptical set of investors.
No, or you could do partnerships that strengthen your position. You can get like advisors on board that strengthen your positions. Get certifications. Maybe I don't know how it works over there, but इस तरह की चीजें help करती हैं कि कोई लोग या companies आपसे ऐसी associated हैं जो आपको kind of verify का tag देती हैं.
और आप अभी जिस स्टेज पे हो ना, ये डेटा सिक्योरिटी, डेटा प्रोटेक्शन, दीज आर बिग टॉपिक्स. और इनको एक बेस लेवल पे एड्रेस करना टेक्नोलॉजिकली या कमर्शियली ज़रूरी है, लेकिन सारा फोकस कोई इन्वेस्टर अगर सिर्फ इसी पे कर रहा है तो अगेन दे आर टेकिंग फोकस अवे फ्रॉम द वैल्यू क्रिएशन दैट इज instrumental and fundamental at this stage compared to the extensive data protection and security which any company will do for their stage and at their stage once they are at. So I mean, like, these are just the wrong things to be focusing on given the stage you are at, for investors and for you mentally as well. So don't get hung over by them, move past.
All right, thank you. Okay. Any don't have any other questions? So I think we'll end this session. Thank you very much, guys, for
Yeah, so
taking your
is-
time
is-
out.
Yeah, is
हाँ जी।
Mohib based out of NIC or is he like
So
operating remotely?
नहीं, Mohib is based
Yeah, I'm from
basically
NIC.
right virtually, लेकिन है NIC का startup. Yeah.
But like he's connected remotely.
Yeah, but I think he will be coming in now. I don't know why आज
Inshallah,
remotely क्यों
inshallah.
आए?
I'll be back in a day or two. I'm currently in Salco traveling, but I'll be back in
हाँ
NIC.
ठीक है, ठीक
Yeah,
है, okay.
so
All right.
Mohib, again, the space that you are in, there are a lot of things that we have been discussing at Rakuten around that space. So let's set up a conversation and see where that
Awesome.
goes.
I'll text you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Take care.